Good morning and welcome to Sewing Street. As you know, I'm John Cole Morgan and I'm so excited today because we have dressmaking, a 2-hour special of dressmaking with Laura and Tree. And if anybody's looked at Laura's webpage, you're going to be there for ages. I don't even wear dresses and I was there for hours. It's fabulous and the blogs are fantastic. And Tree is the maker of the makers. She's fantastic as well. Meeting those in a few minutes. Just wanted to tell you all a little bit about me. I'm a quilter. I've been sewing for just over 5 years, almost 6. Everything fabric I love. I keep stealing my husband's shirts out the wardrobe, trying to do different ones every day for you. Hopefully we won't run out. And we are here to show you the amazing products that we have today. We've got these fabulous patterns, which we'll get to later. And if in case you haven't gone onto the website, make sure you go onto www.sewingstreet.com. You'll be able to watch us on channel 74 and 670. All the products from today's show, if you go onto the website, will be at the very top. And down below, you'll see the products from today. And then beneath that will be the products from yesterday. And then the previous shows, you just keep a rolling, wonderful, gorgeous loop of loveliness. We'd love to hear all of your feedback. We've got this amazing Facebook page, which is sewingstreettv.com, girls. The Sewing Street TV, and then we also have the Sewing Street fans page. And the Sewing Street fans page is where you wonderful fans have all been leaving these wonderful comments. And here we have the wonderful Laura, and this is Tree. Welcome.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming.
Hello.
I'm really excited about this. So let's start with you, Tree. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into this?
Oh, how did I get into it? I'm not sure I want to tell you how I got into it. But, okay, so I saw about 9 years ago that there was a big movement in the sewing community and there were more people getting into sewing. So I came up with an idea for a TV show and I went and pitched it to a very big TV production company, not knowing that they were, and they basically laughed me out and said, go set up a YouTube channel. So I did.
Good. And how's that going? What is your YouTube channel?
It's called Stitchless TV, and
so
it has
stitch as in the word and then less.
Yeah, but
one word and then TV separate.
Yes, that's
Perfect.
right.
Yes.
Stitchless TV on YouTube. It has 200 free sewing tutorials and sewing vlogs.
Fantastic. And how's it going?
We've got 8 million views.
What?
And 8 million.
8 million? That's fantastic.
Oh, it doesn't mean anything.
I've got 12, so I think it's fabulous.
Okay.
Well done.
Well, I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers, so go subscribe.
How are you getting? How close are you?
98,000 subscribers.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations. That's a great thing to have.
You.
And Laura, tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Laura and I'm the founder of Sew Different Patterns. I've been going for about 5 years now. It started off as a blog. It was just an enthusiasm of mine and I was documenting my sewing journey.
Right.
And I was really addicted to Pinterest. You know, I mean,
we all do. Tell us a bit about the
incredible
patterns that you're doing.
Well, today's patterns or generally?
Oh, in general.
Well, generally I focus on contemporary patterns for women that are easy to make and flattering, of course. Who doesn't want something that you feel good in? So, yes.
So these are one of your patterns here?
Yes. Today we're going to focus on 2. We've got the Longline jacket and the Colourblock dress. They work well together, but of course they work well separately as well.
Fantastic. So talking about working together with the two of you, how did you two come together?
Well, we met through the sewing community. I think Tree found one of my patterns that actually it was the Colourblock dress.
Oh, right. And that's what you're wearing?
Yeah, I'm wearing
it. That's gorgeous.
And Tree is wearing it, but they're just 2 completely different versions.
Just with fabric? Is that the same design?
It is, yeah.
Gosh, that's incredible.
If we could, I don't know if you can show.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you can show a full length
look at the
one.
back.
Yeah.
Sorry, just turn around.
So
that is beautiful.
Very easy to do.
That's fabulous.
Very
We've got some we
easy,
can show on the mannequin later,
Yeah,
I'll
don't
show
we?
you this
So
one
this
as
is
well.
plain.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I don't know if we can do a full length, sorry.
Yeah,
possibly if I
Of
want
course,
one
of
here.
course.
There you go. Yeah, so this
Oh,
is...
wow. Gosh,
It's
that's beautiful.
so
And that's nice and long. Yours is slightly
Yeah.
shorter, so I think you're going to show us later how you do that.
The original pattern, as we see here, is about knee length.
Brilliant.
But
And this dress is on the website, I think. Is that right?
no, this is new. I've just made this last week. I just made it.
I meant the pattern.
pattern.
The pattern for the
Yeah,
pattern on that.
yeah,
and then
it
the
is.
other one. So both of these are on the website, www.sewingstreet.com. And those are the 2 that we're focusing on today.
Yes, absolutely. So I think I can start off if you like by
Indeed.
showing
Well,
you.
shall we get? You can have a little sit down because I'm sure you've heard this before. So yes, so you did this looking through Pinterest and getting all the different ideas from there.
Yeah, and this is how I started my my show, my website. I realised that there were actually free patterns on Pinterest, so I started to do a few free patterns for people, and then from there I developed, a really big audience very quickly because it was free. But then so many people were asking me for multi-size patterns that then it moved into a business, because obviously it's very labour-intensive to produce a multi-size pattern, and then if you start to print them, so it became it moved into being a business.
So on this multi-block, the Colourblock dress that you've got here, tell us about the different sizings that you can do on this.
Well, one of the unique features of So Different is that we do a really large size range. So we go from a UK 8 to a 26, and in America that's a 4 to a 22. But for an indie pattern brand, we do have a really, really wide range.
That's brilliant.
I just think it's important.
What does indie pattern mean?
Independent patterns.
Oh,
so there's the big four, which I'm probably not going to be able to remember them. I think it's McCall's, Butterick, Vogue. I can't remember what they are, but they're the traditional sewing patterns from when yours and my mother was sewing. They all used those, and now you have this big
movement of people like yourself doing something unique.
Things that are more contemporary, just a bit more wearable, things that you might see on the high street or on the catwalk, things that are just more current.
Wonderful. And the great thing as well is that they're independent. I'm assuming you do these all yourself.
Yes.
So that's fabulous.
Yeah, they're all designed by me, and I've got a team of people who help me with the trialling and the instructions.
Fantastic.
Photography.
And then this is another one that we've got as well, which is the Longline jacket. So that'll be on later in the show. Again, this is on the website as well, and you can see how beautiful the jacket is. This pattern is $16.99. And again, don't forget, if you do see something that you like, later on in the day you decide you want something else, it's $3.95 all day P&P. And it is a 2-hour special, so if you wanted to buy a pattern now and then later on you change your mind, you still only pay the one P&P. We've got the dedicated call centre UK based, as well as the website, so you can definitely do that. So the Colourblock dress, this is what you're going to give us some tips on today, isn't it?
Well, yes. So as you can see, the pattern is about knee length. And it comes with the option of sleeves or sleeveless.
Oh, right. If you don't mind, I'm just going to show
Sorry.
that
Oh,
there.
yeah, sure.
So you can say the sleeves are optional, and you're going to show us how to be able to make that a bit longer, because your dress is definitely longer than this pattern, isn't it?
If you turn the pattern round,
course,
you can see the sleeveless version on the back there, and it just shows you how different it can look in different colours.
Gosh, it really does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, just seeing the difference between you and Trees, the different dresses are fabulous. Yeah. So will you talk to us a little bit as well about fabric and how you pick that? And you do. Oh, brilliant. It's going to be a great show. 2 hours. Oh, I'm so excited.
Okay, so the first demonstration I was going to do for you was to show, again, I don't know if you can see me, but how to lengthen it like this. So this is for me, this is kind of somewhere between mid-calf and ankle.
Right.
It's not totally straightforward to lengthen this dress.
Course.
Some dresses it is, you just literally put the length on. But because of the panels at the front, I just wanted to show you, it's not difficult at all.
But
I'm going to show you. So I'm going to show you how to do it on paper to stick on to the bottom of your existing pattern.
Brilliant. Oh, well, let's get that started. Do you want to be on this side? Because then you've got a little bit more space to work.
Okay.
And obviously, if you are watching today, this is all going to be on the YouTube channel, Sewing Street TV on the YouTube channel. So if you click subscribe, you'll always be able to come back to this if you have any questions. So when you bought the pattern and you've got any questions on how it all works, I'm just sliding out the way because this is huge.
Piece of paper.
That is wonderful.
We're not going to need all this, but this is just a.
But this paper is really lovely as well.
Oh, this is just my scrap paper that I'm going to put my extension on. Do you think I could have my pattern pieces, please, Tree? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay there?
Lovely. So I just need the back. I'm going to use the back to create the extra length, and then the central panel. There we are. Put those back. There. So, the front of the dress, the bottom hem of the front of the dress ends on a point. And so let's just pop that like that.
So we're going to do this on the overhead here. Do you want to, you know what I'm going to do,
Yeah.
just to make seeing this a little easier, is I'm going to unfold this bit of fabric. If you just pick those two up, just to give you be able to see the white on white.
Sure.
Would you pick that? That way then you can just see it, because I think on the screen at the moment it's a little difficult to differentiate between your pattern and the piece of paper underneath. Is that I think that's a little easier. Oh, there we go. That's much clearer.
So this is the bottom hem of the dress, and I think for a lot of people, if they were going to try and extend the length of the dress, this is the fold here, so it would be double that width. I think what they naturally might do would be to extend this angle here and try and put length on, but that's not actually correct, because that is that angle, and you're going to get
get a big triangle.
You get a very, very strange shape. Really, what you need, this is the back of the dress, is this angle, which is, if you turn them over and put them on top of each other.
Might be a little out of shot there, yeah.
Okay, just move it over for you.
There you go, that's perfect.
There you go, this is the centre line here.
So this would be a fold here?
This is a fold here, yes, and it's the centre line of your dress. So what I'm saying is that if you were thinking about extending it, you might take that angle there, which would be curious and wrong.
Right.
And the angle you really need to take is this angle here.
Ah, okay. So I think we end just there. So I'm going to take that down a little bit just to show people again. So you were saying that the design here, you've got your fold over here.
Yes.
And normally what you'd be inclined to do is to take this angle of the sharp bit going out there, which will give you a really odd shape. But instead, you're actually going to follow because I'm a little bit below
That's it,
now.
yes.
You're going to take this angle here, and take that up, and that will make it a lot more pleasing to the eye. Oh, great.
So what I'll do is I'll just draw that out for you on a piece of paper.
Of course. Would you like, I'll give you that pen. I think that would be a little easier.
Can I take the fabric off?
So we're going to take the fabric off. If you can't see this, we'll just hover over it for a little while. I'm sure it'll be okay.
Now, where's my set square?
The set square's just under there in the corner.
I love a set square. I'll tell you what, I couldn't do without this beautiful
Do you mind while you're doing that if I refer to some messages we've had in from the Facebook?
Go ahead.
Wonderful. So we had a message in, was it Sarah? Hello, Sarah. Good morning.
Hi, Sarah.
Loving the size ranges of the patterns. You're onto something there for sure.
Yeah. Well,
and the pattern sizing is from 8 to 26 UK and 4 to 22 in the US.
Is that right? In the US. And the reason that I have done that is because so many people sew because they can't find what they want in the shops. And so to limit your sizing is a ridiculous thing to do. And so many people do it, like they stop at an 18 or something. But so many people are bigger than a size 18. I mean, it's normal, really. So people.
But the great thing is you can then adapt it, because if you wanted to have a sleeve, you can. If you wanted to have a little bit longer, you can.
Yeah.
If you wanted not to have a sleeve, you can take that out as well.
Yes.
Very clever.
Yes.
I love that.
So what I'm going to do is.
Shall I hold something? I feel like I'm pretty useless at the minute.
It's fine. I'm going to extend.
So this was that bottom piece that we showed.
This is the back. This is the back. And I'm going to extend that line like that.
So do you just randomly pick a length, or would that be a predetermined length that you would have chosen already?
You can choose what you like. I think I did about 25 centimetres.
Okay.
Oh, that is 25.
So that's about 10 inches in quilting world. Quilting world, we're always in Imperial.
I know, I don't work. I work in
But it's really great, because we're such a new channel. We're now trying to bring different things, because we've brought you bag making, we've brought quilting, and we're trying to make sure, because we've got this amazing Facebook page I was telling you about. We had some ladies asking if we can do dressmaking and things. So we're so pleased that you're here today to be able to give the ladies what they need,
well,
that they're asking for.
These patterns are great for beginners. Actually, if you're just moving from quilting to sewing, this is a great range. Colour-block dress is particularly easy.
Well, it's so effective.
It is effective, and don't you think actually it has a bit of a quilty feel to it?
It really does.
It's that connecting,
it does.
yeah.
It's a bit of a patchwork thing,
yeah,
which is great, giving them different colours. I love that.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you chose 25 centimetres on that end, will you be choosing the same length on this end?
That's what I'm doing. So I've drawn in the bottom there. I've done 25 centimetres there. And
you
I've
can
marked,
tell I'm an accountant, always looking at the numbers.
It's always the numbers. 25 centimetres there.
Right.
And then we've got to just recreate this kind of smooth curve here. So if I kind of centralise it like that, you're going to get the curve like that. There you go. And that piece there, is that can you see that clearly?
I think if we go to the overhead now, yes, there we are. You can see that you've done there.
Let's just fill that in nicely. There we go.
So those dress rulers, the curves, is that roughly what you would use that for? The only reason is I've always seen them and I've never known what they are. No?
I think those are more for armholes.
Fine.
But
All you've done is you've drawn you've put the pattern down there, You've extended this line the length that you wanted, extended
right.
the line length that you wanted, and then very cleverly just slid that down and followed the shape all the way along.
Now, I know that this is obvious. This seems really obvious, but I'm showing you for the back.
It isn't, because I have never done this before, so for me this isn't obvious at all.
Well, it works for the back, but then what you have to do is you have to put that piece on the front, and it doesn't look quite so intuitive then, you see, because you're putting it on there. But now this is a slightly different width, and the reason is that there is a seam down the centre of the back with a 1.5 centimetre. Let me just put this on there so you can see it. A 1.5 centimetre seam allowance.
Right.
Okay, like that, so you can see that. But on this front piece, it's a folded piece of fabric, so there's no seam allowance. That's
okay.
why that piece doesn't appear to fit exactly. So what actually happens is you'd move it across like that. That would be the seam allowance
on the back. Okay, right.
So you can see now that that piece would fit on there, but your angle changes just
completely.
here.
Yes.
There, and you continue
Which is obviously
along to
much
the
more
bottom.
pleasing to the eye and makes the pattern work so well.
Yes, it works. It's going to work correctly if you do it like
brilliant.
that. So
Well, I
that's
got
it.
that, so
Yeah.
I'm hoping everybody at home did. If you have any questions, now's the time to send them in. If you just do a new, because I know sometimes when people ask questions, they pop them in comments. If you start a new message on the Sewing Street fans page or the Sewing Street TV page, pop those on there, and then while we've got them here, they can ask the questions that you want. And then this one is the Colourblock dress. So you can see it's just so pretty, and the different fabrics that you choose changes the way that you're doing it. So all we're doing at the moment is we're looking at if you're wanting to make it a little bit longer, because Laura's dress was a little longer than what Tree's was, and this is just how you do it. But there's great lots of room here for adapting the pattern, and also for you to be able to take different colours in your stash that you've got, that you can then use, that you've perhaps potentially been using and not using in your stash, that now you can. So the great thing is as well here, you can see I'm playing with fabrics. I can't not have fabrics here and play with them. These are new fabric ranges that we've got on the website as well. You'll be able to see it. We're going to come back to those later. These are all sold by the half metre. We've got the denims here as well, which work really well for the dress. And the other one's 100% linen as well. So at the moment, that's where we are here. This is fantastic. So you would just then cut that out and then pin that to the bottom of your... you
just lightly
tack it on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'm assuming you can keep these forever. And if you want to make the dress again in a different colour.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fabulous.
Well, it's a very good quality paper.
You can tell.
It doesn't rip like a lot of the fine tissue papers do. And so you can use it for years, and you can lend it to your friends.
Perfect. Now talk to me about fabrics. How is it that... Because I can see you've got such a beautiful print and a different weight there than what Tree's used. Talk to me about the fabrics. What would you use?
Well, to be honest, this was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. Don't do it. This is a very...
Well, it looks lovely.
This is a very fine crepe, and
Right.
it's hard to work with. So
Okay.
don't choose that.
So if you're a beginner, perhaps not.
No.
What would you recommend as a beginner wanting to do as the first one?
It says, first thing, suitable for denim, heavy cottons, scuba and other non-wovens, not suitable for a jersey or very loose weave fabrics. And the only reason I say that is because...
So these fabrics here would work well?
Now, these would be great. This linen, for example, this is quite a stable linen. It's quite heavy, so it's not going to be a really summery dress, but it's going to be nice and stable. It's going to be easy to work with. And something like this or this will work really well, a plain with a pattern. So if you have, say, a beautiful floral in your stash, just some
with
small pieces
that
pick up these tones, then you can mix it with a plain like this, and it's going to work really well. And if we look at the dress on the mannequin, you can see how, I don't know if we can pan across
I can
to
see.
that.
So you could actually then, just for example, if we wanted to use the purple there, gosh, that actually does work really well. If I rotate that round, if I use less fabric.
You can just have some small pieces, maybe that are in your stash that are the floral, and then the bulk of the dress could be made in the plain.
Yes, because you can just see there on the screen how beautifully those two go together. And I wouldn't have thought that, and they may not be what you'd like to choose. But this is now a half metre stone wash linen, and you can see this is $5.99. I can't remember what the width of this was. I think it was round about 140 centimetres. And then this is by half a metre. And we've got these in 3 different colours. Because again, as Laura was just saying, you could then use these with other fabrics and match them with what you've got in your stash. So you're adding to your stash, but also then making it there. So just to show you the different colours that we've got. It looks really good on your skin tone. I was just looking there on the on the preview
I like
screen.
blue.
That really works well. It's a denim colour, but it's a linen fabric. So it's 100% linen. Very good price point, $5.99 for half a metre. And of course, blue is such a good colour. You can use it with any project. But with this dress, I'm loving that. And then we've done that one. And then we've got this one as well, just to give you an idea of different colours. And this one's a bit more of a neutral, which I suppose you could use with a lot more fabrics.
I just think it's really versatile having a neutral. You've got to be, when you're mixing and matching, you've got to be careful not to go over the top. But it is very fashionable at the moment to mix your fabrics, to put a polka dot.
Do you know what I love is you looked at my shirt as you
yeah.
said that. I love that.
I was just thinking, but you could put this with, imagine you could put this with a grey linen.
Oh, no, it would be
in fact,
beautiful.
or the blue even. I don't know if it would work with the blue, maybe a slightly darker
Darling,
blue.
we're colour making your shirt into a
are.
dress. Hope you don't mind.
But the denims you've got as well, you see, I personally would mix the denims with that. It would look
Really?
lovely. Look at that dark
And this
denim.
this denim, so this is an 8-ounce denim, if I recall. Is that
8-ounce denim is quite thick for a dress. So this is going to be a winter dress.
Oh, great! Because a lot of people, I suppose, look for a winter dress if they're going to an event or something like that.
I mean, to be honest, this would look lovely with thick tights.
Can you imagine?
You know, knee-high boots.
Oh, lovely! With a nice pair of Doc Martens.
It's got a bit of a 60s look about
Yes.
it anyway. So that kind of knee-high boots and Colourblock dress is very 60s.
That would be very, very 60s.
And I think this dress here, this is a denim.
Oh, that is.
Now, I think
it's almost identical.
I would say that is an 8-ounce denim. And so when you use a heavier denim like this, you're going to get that really nice A-line look. It's the 60s look, which is lovely. Whereas if you use something floppier, like a crepe, which is this one here, which is a nightmare again.
Of course. So this
Don't
is
do
a
it.
half metre of dark blue denim. This is an 8-ounce medium to heavyweight washed cotton denim for £5, less than £5, £4.99. And I see, so you could use this for bags as well, couldn't you?
Oh, that'd be lovely as a bag, yes. Just the right weight.
For half a metre for less than a £5, I think that's really good. So and also if you're doing 2 units, so say you wanted a metre of it, when you purchase them on the website, just make sure that you select 2 and they'd come in 1 piece. So you don't need to worry that they're going to come into 2 half-metre pieces, or if you're buying 4 metres or whatever. And that was the dark blue denim that I've just shown you. So that's the darker colour here. So you can see the different colours and how they go. You can see they're not that different, but you can see it's a beautiful subtle blend between the two.
John, could I just suggest
Of course.
something here? Because this is something that a lot of people don't think of, but it works really well for this dress. It's really important when you're making this dress and you're mixing your fabrics that you choose the same weight of fabric so that they work together well.
Of course, that's so clever.
But a really good way of doing that is to utilise both sides of the denim. So if you can imagine, you could use all one fabric, but turn it over, and you're going to get a lovely equal weight fabric, 2 different effects, and that would look really great.
It does.
Or you could use, maybe 2 different types of denim, 4 different
Doing it that
sides,
way,
4 different
gosh.
sides, you're going to get 4 different colours, and they really, will look fabulous
Gosh,
together.
I've never even thought of turning them around like that. That's so brilliant.
Yeah, just use the reverse side. It's really effective.
that's
You can see something
fantastic.
like that.
Well, I've got you there. Do you mind holding that
Yes,
side?
but
So this
no,
is the
go ahead.
medium, but I think it's called a medium blue for the denim. So this is the medium blue, and it's really lovely. And less than £5 for half a metre. And then for the other side, if people wanted to use the other side, so great idea from Laura. Oh, that worked really well. So we can get you've got both the front, which is where my fingers are now, and then the back, which is where my fingers are here. So this is the medium denim. Oh, I suppose as well, you've got your pattern matching chat coming up in a little bit. You wouldn't need to worry about these, would you?
Well, no, the pattern matching actually is more on the jacket. I'm
On
going
the
to talk to you
jacket's
about
perfect.
that. So I don't think that anybody would be attempting to match patterns across so many patterns here, so many panels here. That would be a scary and terrifying thing.
So what I'll do is I'll just show the light one as well. Could you mind
Yeah,
holding
sure.
that? I'm putting you to work here, Laura.
fine,
Sorry
it's
about
fine.
that. This is the light blue. So this is also 8-ounce medium heavy denim. This is the light blue. Less than a £5 for half a metre. And this would be, you can see then if you did want to do what Laura was just suggesting there, you've got the light of the reverse and then the slightly darker of the front. It's a really clever idea.
It's quite a subtle difference, that, and I think that would be very, very
That would be
pretty.
really beautiful,
Yeah.
but it just slightly changes it as well.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So, and then, oh, I feel like I've jumped into your demo there and just destroyed that
No, the
there.
demo's done. The demo's done.
Brilliant. Well, shall we then swap over to Tree? And I'll just remind you all of the Facebook page. It's Sewing Street Fans or Sewing Street TV. Sorry, I just stood on your foot. So if you go out there. And then the website, if you're looking to get us on the website, that's www.sewingstreet.com. And now we're doing, is this the... Ooh. Live telly, what could possibly go wrong? We found your set square. Sorry about that. So I'm completely lost at the moment. Are we doing the Colourblock dress? Colourblock dress, perfect. So we're doing exactly the same dress now, but what we've got is we've got Tree, our master sewer, coming to give us some tips on how to do this. We've had a lot of people already checking out on the dress. Is that right, Branna? Fabulous. But it is such a good pattern, and going to those different sizes and the way you can different adjust it as well, I think that's a really good buy. So the other thing, do you mind while you're doing that if I just refer back to these?
No, that'd be great.
Because I actually noticed that Tree has these in her little sewing kit there. So we've got these Fiskars scissors, which I know we've been talking about over the last few days. Fiskars have given us an amazing deal, being able to do these for $9.99, and they come with this amazing little cover that you can just protect yourself while you're doing them, while you've got them in your sewing bag or everything. But these, we've sold hundreds of these already. Loads of people have got them in their baskets already, and we sold quite a few yesterday on the show. So if you are interested in doing these are really good scissors. And what, I haven't told Tree this, but I'm going to actually ask her. We've got another pair of amazing dress shears here. These are a Millwood dress shear, which are really weighty and lovely. And they've got a lovely presentation box there, because don't forget Mother's Day is coming and we're always looking for lovely things that we know Mother's going to use. But these are just gorgeous, 27 centimetre shears, brand new today. And you can see they've got the little triangle bit thing here, which you can follow on the table. And I'm going to ask Tree if she doesn't mind doing a little bit of a test for us and telling us which her favourites are. Because I think I know which mine are, but we like to get other people's opinions on the two. Oh, sorry, just to go back, these are only $16.99 as well. So if you're looking for a really good price point on a... Oh, you measuring them up already?
Well, do you know what? I'd immediately say what I like about them is the weight.
They're very heavy, aren't they?
No, it's nice to have a good weight. And I'm not so much of a roller cutter.
Rotary cutter.
What are they called? Rotary cutters, yeah. I have several, but I'm not so much of a... I need persuading about that. I like the feeling of cutting through fabric.
Yes, because it is so different than using the rotary cutter, isn't it?
And I use notches quite a lot, so I need to snip. I need to be able to have that kind of snipping action.
Perfect.
But,
Well, give us your opinion on these ones. See what you think on those.
Well, these I know because these I use all the
all the
time.
time.
Yeah. So with these, well, what I'd say about these, if you have problems with your hands, these are really smooth. The length is really smooth, isn't it?
It is.
So that feels really smooth. Let me just compare. Yeah, but these are like serious.
Because I've got these, so I've used these all the time, like you do.
Yeah,
but I'm
me
just
too.
thinking for this, it is that weight, and there's not that much difference in the price.
And the length is good.
The length is good. I really love these silver ones. So, but we're going to get you to give them a bit of a try and see how you go.
All right, that's great.
So tell us now what you are showing us.
Okay.
So this is very similar to the linen that we've got here, slightly thinner, is that right? Oh no, they feel roughly the same.
Well, that's a washed effect, so that has a kind of shrunken feel.
Right.
So if you were to get a linen and really boil wash it, I imagine it would come out like that.
Okay.
So it becomes more, sort of more drapey, more floppy, a heavier weight.
Okay.
Without the stiffness.
Right, okay.
So what is that fabric called? Is it a washed linen?
I don't think we know. So I think it's 100%. It's 100%. Sorry, Hannah, can you say that again?
Do they call it stone washed?
100% linen. They haven't given us any details, unfortunately.
Okay, but it's got a really good weight to it. I can see. It's
Yes,
a really good weight. Right. So what I was going to talk about today is sewing diagonal seams. So when you sew diagonal seams, you're effectively sewing the seams on the cross. And when you sew fabric on the cross, it stretches.
Yes.
So you know, like when you use fabric on the cross for a bias cut
Yes.
skirt, you're making use of the fact that it stretches, because then you're
To
making
add to
the
the
skirt.
design.
Yeah, so that it hugs your figure. But then when you don't want it to stretch, you've got to think about how to do that. So I'm just making sure that I've got my patterns the right way round. So that's on that side.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
I'm losing all my stuff.
It's okay.
Right. Okay, so I think, right, so I just want to say something else actually. So with Laura's pattern, it is really important that when you cut out your pieces, that you have them all facing up the right, you have your fabric facing up the right way.
So this is the right side. I see here you've written a big W on it.
I've written a
So is
W
that
on the
for-
back.
So
Well,
that's for wrong.
That's for wrong side.
Perfect.
But more what
But that's
I'm...
a top tip for people who've not done this before. That's a really nice way of doing that. Do you do that on every piece of fabric?
No, I only
just
do
the
it when
obvious ones.
there isn't a right side and a wrong side.
Because this one, I think it's quite easy. You can tell what's wrong and what's right. Because you've got a picture on one side and nothing on the back. That would obviously be quite clear. But with this linen, obviously, it's quite difficult to see what's wrong and right.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure that I've got that right now. So
We're
I
gonna
am going to
pretend that
double
you
check.
have.
We'll pretend that we have. But what I'm mainly saying is, so imagine you're cutting out one of this, one of the top, one of the bottom, you know, on the left side, and then one of the right side.
Yes.
You have to make sure that they're all facing up at you.
Of course.
Because otherwise, if one's down and one's up...
Well, like with the
you're-
denim, you could see you'd have a different... The fabric would be a different colour.
Yes, yes. So then you'd have like two of these on the wrong
Yes.
side kind of thing. So that is important. But the main thing that we're going to do today is to sew a diagonal seam.
Right.
And we're also going to do a really easy way to do inset sleeves.
Oh, fantastic.
It's so easy.
And don't forget, we're here for 2 hours today. We've got a long 2-hour session today. So stay tuned with us, and this may come later in the show, but we are going to cover all of those bases.
So you'll have to guide me, because
So
I
if you want
don't
to
know
be
where
the
the shot
overhead,
is.
I think we're okay on the green mat. I think you're absolutely perfect there.
So I'm heading over here.
I'm gonna just
So are we in shot?
We are indeed.
Right. Yeah?
Trying to find a place that can go nicely.
So it's this line here that I want to talk about. So,
Right.
So
Gosh, that's a long bit.
it is a long bit, isn't it?
See,
so
as a quilter, I look at that on the bias and I break out in hives. 'cause I
well,
wouldn't know
yeah,
how
but
on
there are
earth to even
many
start. What's that?
tricks that you can do. So when you have fabric on the cross, like we said, it stretches. So different fabrics will have a different amount of stretch.
Yes.
So when you put your fabric right size together and you sew, you could end up with a
With a
wibbly
ripple,
wobbly seam,
right.
which would be a nightmare. So on the pattern, it suggests that you do like a stay stitch.
Right.
So you do
so what's a stay stitch?
so a
Forgive me, because
stay-
I've never done any of this. You're
so,
talking...
so a stay stitch is a stitch that makes the thing stay in place. So it could be that you're stitching two tricky seams together,
Right.
and you do a stay stitch to hold it in place.
Okay.
Or in this situation, we're using if we did do that, we're using a stay stitch to stabilise the fabric, so that when we then put the
them
seams
together.
they won't stretch any more than we
what the
have.
seam is.
Yeah. So
Perfect.
So that's one way.
So I'm assuming on your YouTube channel you would have a video on how to do that, if people haven't done it before.
Do you know what? I haven't.
That's all right. But I'm pretty sure we're going to have one.
Because the method that I used for this dress,
Yes.
I mean, I might be known as a notching queen, actually.
Right.
Because I have worked a little bit in industry, so I'm always looking for shortcuts.
Of course.
I'm always looking to keep the project in a two-dimensional way for as long as possible, and I avoid pins, like the plague.
I hate pins. But don't tell anybody.
But sometimes you need pins.
You do,
You know, you
you do.
can't avoid pins in some situations. So I'll show you one more way to
Perfect.
stabilise the seams. So this is interfacing.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure that you can buy stay tape. Would you have stay tape?
Oh, I'm just
iron-on
hearing now
stay
that we're
tape?
actually we're chatting to people now to make sure that we get that in.
Okay.
So yes, definitely.
So you can get iron-on stay tape,
Because this is Vilene, isn't it?
This is
The
Vilene
one-sided
interfacing. Yeah.
So Vilene, we're chatting with them now and
So
seeing where we
it's gluey on one side and then not on the other. So you would run that along the seam.
No, is this the wrong side
edge.
or the right side?
So
You're
this
running
is
this
the
on.
right side. So
Right.
I would
You'd
do
run
it on the
long
wrong side.
Just-
Thank you very much.
No, that's just why, because I've never done it. I wanted to make sure.
No, but
I
you're
know.
absolutely right.
And you'd be putting the gluey
Let me do it on here
side.
because then it will be
That's
more
visible.
obvious. Yeah. So the gluey side, I would iron onto
Perfect. So you can see you are in
the
shot there
edge.
perfectly.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's white on white.
Oh, you're
Look,
fine.
there
You're
you go,
fine.
yeah.
I'll put my finger under this, but so they
Yeah,
can see
so
what
it'd
we're
be
doing.
gluey side down and you'd iron it on to hold it into place.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the second way to stabilise a stretch seam.
Perfect. So what we're doing there is I've just put my finger underneath it. Obviously, your fingers would not be underneath it when you're doing it.
you burn
It's
your
just to
fingers.
show you. Well, unless your finger wants to be part of the dress, which I know
Yes.
it doesn't. It's just to show you because we've got a white fabric underneath with a white interfacing. So you can see you just put that then with the bumpy side down, and you can feel one side's quite soft and silky. Oh, I'll put it there. So one side's quite soft and silky, and the other side's a bit bumpy. And then you just put the bumpy side down onto the wrong side, and just what, a cool iron?
Depends upon the fabric.
Fine. Okay.
Because it may knock glue
Okay.
if you're not using a hot enough heat
Okay, great. But
for the
that'll be on the
fabric that
box,
it's in
won't
here.
it, for the-
yeah.
for whatever you
Or
buy?
always test everything. When you
Perfect.
sew, test everything. Test your patterns.
We see, I've got a
test
top
it-
tip as a quilter because we use
Yeah.
an interfacing ourselves. I use greaseproof paper,
Yeah.
and like you've written wrong and right on there,
Yeah.
I put glue on the one side and no glue on the other
okay.
because the number of times you put a piece of
Yes.
greaseproof paper on, forgot that you put glue on that side, and then you get glue on your iron anyway.
Yeah.
So that's for quilting. So I don't know if
Yeah.
that would work here because I don't know whether this would affect your iron in any way, would it?
Oh yeah, just be really careful.
Perfect.
So do not have glue side up. That's a disaster, darling. Gosh.
Ask
Right.
us how we know.
Yeah, all those irons gone to
Brilliant.
waste.
So you're doing this on both sides of that then to secure these
On the
bias
wrong
seams.
side.
On the wrong side, but
Yeah.
on both of the pieces of fabric.
But I'm not going to do that today.
Of course. But
Okay.
it's a top tip if
It
people
is a
wanted
top
to.
tip, yeah. Basically, anything that needs stabilising, you can use the interfacing to stabilise it, and it actually makes all sewing
A
easier.
lot easier.
Yeah.
But the great thing about having you two on here for 2 hours today is that we're going to be able to get top tips for this pattern to make the making process a little easier. And you're doing 2 or 3 different methods or saying 2 or 3 different methods that would work well. So it's the highlighting the areas that might need a little bit of help with.
So, on Laura's pattern,
Yep.
on her diagonal, these paper scissors.
So this is the Colourblock dress that we're doing at the moment. And if we zoom that down a little bit, I'm just working backwards and upside down. So we're doing this pattern at the moment. And then if I move that slightly over, on the overhead, you'll be able to see there's a little notch here. And I'm going to slide that down to keep you in there. Perfect. So you can see there's a little notch there. That's what you're referring to, isn't it?
Okay. So those notches are there to help you line up your diagonal seams. So you would line up the diagonal seams like that.
Oh.
So
So if you stay where you are, we're just zooming in now. So what you've got the notch at the bottom one and the notch at the top, and you're just sliding
that's
those
the
together.
centre fold.
So that's your centre fold. Where are we?
Yeah, should we move?
No, don't move. There we
There
go.
we go.
So this will be your centre fold here.
Of the triangle that is in the centre, yeah?
Perfect. Well, this is all in the pattern.
Yeah.
We're just trying to give you top
Yeah.
tips of where we are. So this will be your fold here. This is the notch on the top,
And
notch at the bottom there.
So then it goes like that, yeah?
Oh, wow.
So what we do to sew up this seam, so Laura's already snipped the notches.
Perfect. So
and there
just
should be
snipping the
one
notches,
down
you don't need
there.
to draw anything on. Just to give you an idea, so you can see there's a tiny little snip there that would then slot into that little triangle underneath. And do you go the full length of the triangle for your little snip?
Yes, so long as you don't encroach upon the seam allowance.
Perfect.
Which
and
is
the seam allowance for
1.5.
dressmaking is how many inches? It's 5/8 of an inch, isn't it? Yeah. And it's 1.5 in centimetres. Perfect. So we've
1.5
got you
in
both
centimetres,
metric
I know
and
that.
imperial
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
And the great thing, you can see it a little clearer on this one, where you've popped your notch in. So then I assume you're just going to take your 2 notches together and line those up.
Yeah, but that's not enough for me.
Oh, good.
No.
I like it.
So if I can take the pattern away.
Do you want to pop those over here?
Yeah, thank you. So I often show off about the fact that I believe
Spot on.
with using loads of notches as landmarks, using lots and lots. I'm going to try out these scissors now. So here we go. So using lots of notches, I'm at a funny angle. So what you do is you line up your fabric so they're absolutely perfect. You could give me, no, don't challenge me. You could give me a
Careful, because I've got fabric there.
you could give me a silk crepe and a velvet, and I bet you quite a lot of money that using this method of lots of notches that don't encroach upon the seam allowance, yeah? So they're smaller than the seam allowance. I'm only doing it at this weird angle so that you can see.
Do you want to rotate this round?
It's all right.
You sure?
Yeah,
I just don't want
I like a challenge.
See, I'm a health and safety nut with
Oh,
these things, so
are
I try
you?
not to make sure.
So
Don't do that at home.
Don't do that
Rotate
at home.
it towards you.
Yeah.
But
So
what did you think of them?
I thought they were great. Look,
They're
I
not
was
bad,
doing
are
it at
they?
this angle, and it was very nice and sharp at the bottom.
But the great thing is, they're so large, I suppose you are so far away from yourself
Yeah.
as well.
But then you can cut
That
more
weight
quickly.
is lovely, isn't it?
So
Brand new today, and these are the right-handed ones, because I learnt this top tip the other day to tell right-handed versus left-handed, that if you're holding the scissors where your hand is, whatever side the blade is whether they're left or right-handed scissors. So these are right-handed because your hand is on the same side as the blade, and the left-handeds would be on the other side. I learnt that from the lovely Hayley in the office. Perfect.
could I ask you to open them for me?
Yes, these are. This is a trick question, isn't it?
Well,
There they
it
are.
is hinged there, no?
And these wonder clips are in the website, and I'm hoping they will be easier to open for you. There we go.
Okay, wonder clips are great because they don't mark your fabric.
I love wonder clips.
So I think it comes from working with leather, because you can't pin leather. Because
Because
very
Vix
often,
was saying that as well. When you use
Right.
working with leather, you don't need to pin anything in.
So even though I've notched, I still need.
Someone's been playing with the wonder clips. I love it. But that's what I do as well. I put them in nice little runs like that.
So I still want some reassurance of holding them together. Thank you.
How far apart would you put these? About 2-3 inches?
I'm just putting them in between the notches, really.
Ah,
yeah.
right. Okay.
But it's not really a specific thing. Now, the difference between quilters
Yes.
and dressmakers, I see it all the time. So when I do workshops with quilters and I say, oh, you know, do a bit like roughly 1.5 centimetres, that they want it like exact, and they want to put the little marker on the machine. So and then if they come off just a tiny bit, that they're unpicking it, and these things really
We don't know
matter.
what she's talking about, do we, ladies and gentlemen? None of us know what she's talking about.
So with these patterns, so you imagine I'm doing this seam here.
Yes.
It really doesn't matter.
No.
If I'm somewhere between a centimetre and a centimetre.
But it still looks beautiful.
And a half. With these patterns, with Laura's patterns, they're fairly loose fitting. I
Right.
think that's okay for me to say that. They're very relaxed to the way that they're made. She does a marvellous thing with the sleeve.
Oh, good. I'm looking forward to that because we're doing the sleeves later
So
how to put a sleeve in and take one out.
It doesn't have a front and a back, so you can't get confused.
Oh, how brilliant.
And yet, look how perfectly
beautiful.
it comes in, just like really, really perfectly. I'm going to be copying that. So shall I get
Well,
the
I'm hoping
machine
many people
out?
over there. Please, yes,
Okay.
let's do that.
So I'll show
what I'm
off
going
my
to do now is I'm going to
skills.
just go through and show you what we've got on today. We've got the gorgeous pattern for the Colourblock dress. Opening up the pattern now to show you what you get, because secretly I've never opened a dress pattern. So now I've never made a dress.
Oh,
I'm going to just pick this up. If you can grab the mat and
Okay.
pull that towards us, just that way then you're not going to be, you'll be
Yes.
completely on the table and on the
Okay.
mat. Gosh, these Elnas are amazing. If anybody hasn't seen the video with Jane Brogan, I think it was 2 Mondays ago, for the 680 plus, do yourself a favour, go and watch it. This machine is beautiful. Ooh! So you've got a lovely, oh my goodness, look at all these pictures. Sorry, I get very excitable. So this is how you lay the fabric out, this is how you lay out your fabric pieces on your fabric to make sure that you get the most efficient use of your fabric. So that's the, oh gosh, and they've got all the detailed instructions on the inside. And now we've got the, oh gosh. But the great thing about doing a 2-hour show today is that you'll be able to watch this back. If you've forgotten anything, you don't have to worry. It's always on the website on YouTube. Just subscribe to that so each one will come on. And I'm not going to unfold all of this because you can see it's huge. But the paper is so good. What are you is this? It's beautiful. Oh, I love that.
Can I suggest you
Of
show
course,
something?
of course, please.
So for dressmakers, trying to decipher and find which size is their size
No.
so this just makes it so,
that's so
easy
clever.
because it's all color coded.
That is really clever. So if you're making an 18, which is a UK 18, it gives you the US sizes and the European sizes.
And it's orange.
And you know that it's orange. You'll just, oh, that's not showing very well there. Not on the overhead, but if I show Joe on number 2, you'll be able to see the colour. So you can see the orange one. I just want to make sure that's the orange there. You can see the writing over there says, and of course I've done this upside down, so don't move, Joe. I'll just do that way. So you can see where it says there European 46, US 14 and 8. The orange line is that one over there. So throughout the whole pattern, you'll always only be using the orange line. And if you're using the bright turquoise, there you can see that's the size 8, the very top of the figure there. So it's a really lovely way. Do you do all of your patterns that way?
They are.
Oh, you clever lady. She's very good at this. Check her website out, sewdifferent.co.uk. Really, really good pattern. So there's the front. And the great thing is, it's got such a lovely box with a sticker on. You just always then, when you've used it, you just pop it back in. And you've got so many patterns, you can just have a whole collection of them in one row.
20.
How many?
20.
20 different patterns. Gosh, we're going to have to get you back in.
Yes.
Right, so now what you've got is, this is just the, have
So-
you got this on any specific setting?
I've got it on a 2.8 size
Perfect.
of stitch. Can I just say, so I usually sew standing up anyway.
Oh, do you?
It's
Gosh.
something that I do. Because I think I don't make cakes and cook sitting down, do I? So
Fair enough.
why am I going to sit down and sew? And also I need more surface area. Can I
Of course, you can do it if
bring
you
it
like.
back? But I think, oh,
Well, what I thought was
I've
if we
moved
do
that
this,
lovely
no,
thing.
if we do that, you can just move the mat.
oh, you're so clever. Yeah. There you go. Thank you. But I need
Top
to.
tip. Stick it on the mat, slide the mat. Don't go off the table.
Okay. So I think I'm going to sew on the blue side because I've got
That's
white.
a good thing because you'll be able to see it.
Yeah, white thread. So hopefully it will all work out okay.
Of course it will.
So I'm doing a 1.5 seam allowance, and I'm just going to sew because I'm mainly demonstrating to you how effective it is to do the notches to keep both fabrics in place. Look how, that's just,
That's brilliant.
so there's no
Just gonna
stretching
slow
going
that
on.
down a little bit for you.
Oh, really? I like it to
Never
be an
mind,
industrial
take that back to the
speed.
thing. It's brilliant. But that's the great thing about this machine. It does really
It's
amazing
feeding
speed.
it so well. I'm not doing any pulling or tugging. So very often when people sew, so when you get into dressmaking rather than quilting, I get the impression you're sewing longer seams. Is
Much.
that right? Apart
Much,
from when
much,
you put
much
your
longer.
bias around
Yes.
your blankets, that's
Yeah.
like, that's a mega task,
Sorry,
isn't
just
it?
as a quilter, I'm going to say, because everything rose in me, binding on a quilt. Sorry.
Binding on a quilt, yes.
You forgive me for that.
No. I need to be told.
I'll tell you a funny story about that. So I went, we made my Facebook group made a quilt for Her Majesty for her 90th birthday, and I went to Buckingham Palace to drop it off. And there
As
was
you
this,
do.
obviously, you know, just an average Tuesday, and this man at the thing had a very large firearm as I went through the gate, and he said, "Oh, you here for the blanket?" And it took everything inside of me to go, "It is a quilt, sir." So please, I've done it with people with guns. I have to.
Never
I'm
do
so
it again.
sorry.
I never say that again.
I was quite worried.
So something that I find when people have this long seam, they feel like they have to pull. But sewing machines these days, there's no pulling. Or you're only here to steer. It's like having a car. So it's doing all the driving. I'm just here to steer, particularly if it's a good machine like this. So look, I'm not doing anything.
You're not.
All I'm doing, so I'm treating my notches like landmarks.
Oh.
So I set up the next notch. If it's okay, it's all good.
And you're sewing it virtually up to each mark, each notch. Is that what you would do normally?
So sort of,
Okay.
yeah. I would normally double check, but I've got these pegs on. So look, it's all like nothing has moved.
It's brilliant.
So we haven't done anything.
And these wonder clips, if you are looking at these wonder clips, I sold them as binding clips.
How much are they?
Have we got the graphic on that now? We're going to get that. It's on the website
Okay.
at the moment if
'Cause
you
I'd
did
like
want
to know.
them. Actually, I've got the little iPad here. I can have a look myself. And then I can have a look for Facebook messages because we've asked people to come through with messages. Well, I can show you another tip if you want to.
Oh, the cutting thing.
Because I like cutting less steps. You just press the button, you take it off, and it takes it off very closely
that's
to it.
amazing.
And you don't have these little threads all over the place. And then when you finish, pop it up.
So when I sew, does the thread stay in the needle?
Yes.
It doesn't
It does.
want to pull out?
You can test.
I'll test
It's a
on the
brilliant
next
machine.
seam.
It's a really brilliant machine.
So do you want to see the seam
Of
that I did so
course.
you can have evidence of it having not stretched? So I haven't got an iron here at the
They're
moment.
$7.99 for 50.
Wow, that's so good.
Oh, sorry, no, that's $7.99 for 10.
Okay. I was going to say, that was really...
Hannah is very kindly looking it up for us at the moment.
Okay.
Gosh, look how beautiful
So
that is.
I'm just finger scoring. You can do that with kind of these types of
May I?
cotton-based
May I?
fabrics. Oh, yeah, go on
I'm
then.
going to use these wonderful scissors. You've got that pointy bit there.
Is that what that's for?
I don't know, but I'm going to try it. It's working.
I think it is, actually.
Oh, that really works.
Because why else would it be there?
Oh, that really does work.
Yeah.
We found a second use for the pair of scissors. Don't know if it's right or not,
I bet
but
it
that's what we're
is.
using it for. But you can see that's flattened
Yes.
it beautifully.
So you can. I'm not showing off, but I feel very strongly about notches, and I feel like people wasted a lot of time tacking,
Yes.
pinning.
Well, the Wonder Clips, we've
Breaking
just found out they're
pins.
out of stock at the moment, but I'm sure they'll be back
okay.
really soon. So keep an eye out for them on the
Right.
website.
They're really
but I'm pleased
good.
to see that you use them as well for dressmaking.
But I
'cause
genuinely use
So do
them.
we. With
Yeah.
My poor friend Sylvia ends up doing all my binding, so she uses them all the time. Sylvia, morning, darling. I've got lots of quilts for you tomorrow. That is beautiful.
So this fabric is quite nice, isn't it?
It's beautiful fabric.
And I believe it may be coming.
Oh,
So
is this what I'm talking? Should I subtly ask Laura about
You
this fabric?
should.
I think I will.
Do you want me to run away so she can? Can we
We'll
bring
do that in a
Laura?
little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank
I'll
you
run
for
away.
that. Oh, bye-bye. So we've now done the diagonally stabiliser. Are you going to show me how to put a sleeve into this? Are you going to do it on this one?
No. I think that the reason Tree wanted me to come on was she just wanted
Show
to
me-
tell me
tell me
about the fabric.
Tell me about this fabric.
This is actually a so different fabric. So it's one of our very own new range. And it is a linen cotton blend. So it does work really nicely like your own linens do. And what's special about them is that they are all my own designs.
Oh, how fabulous.
So,
well, I'm
yeah,
hoping
from
that we're going to get you
painting-
back in with these sometime soon. That'd be
I'm
lovely.
Absolutely hoping to be on Sewing
that's
Street
great.
with them, yes, but not
We're
this
loving
time, but
having
another
you. Are
time.
you having fun yet?
Yes, I
Good,
am, yes.
good.
But I'm going to hand back to Tree because she's going to
Perfect.
show you something now for an inset sleeve.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Do you think that was the right way I used that? Because I think it's
I
worked
have
really
seen-
well.
actually, it's often a curved hook, isn't it?
Which will give you even. Oh,
yeah.
that's brilliant. Sorry, we just hadn't seen it before.
No, it's good. Okay, I'm
So
gonna leave
these
you to
scissors,
it.
these are new on today. They're from Millwood, and they come in this amazing presentation box. Really, really lovely scissors that possibly for Mother's Day, just a normal birthday, or even if you've just got a friend in your sewing group that needs a good pair of scissors, these are really lovely. And you were saying that you preferred these as well, didn't you?
Yeah, no, I love the weight
They're
of them.
really lovely. It'll be interesting, if anybody's got a message, do you know if this is the right way that I've used that, or if I just found a new way of using it? I think I found a new way. I'm hoping I found a new way. Brilliant, so what are you going to show me now?
So I'll jump back in. So I do feel a bit bad not making more of the dress.
Why?
Can we hold this up? And so that
But
they
we're
have
not,
an
we're not
understanding.
making the whole dress, we're just wanting to
Yeah.
do key stages for people.
Okay.
Just watch your little mic there, because I think
Oh,
you've just
I'm
covered yourself. There we go.
sorry.
There we go.
Okay. So you can see.
Oh gosh, the line all the way down
Yeah,
there.
that's what I wanted to show you.
Oh, brilliant.
So we.
Should we show it on the, because this
Yeah.
is the same one here. Should we
Oh,
do that
right,
there?
yeah.
No?
Okay, do that. That's a good idea.
Watch, I'm going to do this backwards, aren't I? Get this right.
So line up the shoulder.
So it's
with,
that one there.
Yeah.
That line there, is that right?
Yes.
Gosh, I did that quite reasonably well.
You did it really well. So look how
Gosh,
lovely
that
it
fabric
looks.
is lovely.
So I just needed you to do that.
No problem. Do you need
So
me to go
that I
anywhere?
can show you that I'm now going to add I'm going to stitch it on the shoulder. I wouldn't normally do it in this order, but I'm just doing it
To show us how we go for the
to
sleeve.
show you, yeah, because what I'm then going to do is show you how to do the inset sleeve.
Oh,
and I think you'll
brilliant.
love it.
Brilliant.
So
Isn't
should we
that
do that
so
now?
simple? How long does it take to make this dress?
How long did it take you?
Well, when you've made it before, maybe 3 hours.
Okay.
If you're new to sewing,
Yes.
or if it's your first time of making it, maybe a bit longer.
Just take
Wonderful.
your time.
And the great thing is we timed that perfectly and your mic was live, so hopefully everybody heard that.
Yes.
If not, they were saying as a beginner, normally for about 3 hours. So, yeah. Brilliant. So all you've done is another one of your fabulous notches.
Well,
so is this what you call your notching technique?
I don't really call it anything, but
Okay.
yeah, I suppose it is. I mean, it's used, throughout industry, and
Right.
lots of people use this.
See, I'm totally new to this. I've
Yeah.
never seen it. So what we'll do is when you finish, don't take it out. We'll just press that button
Yeah,
and see if
okay.
it cuts off.
Well, I'll let you do that.
No, you can. It's really easy.
Right, so I'm just going to go backwards and forwards here because I should.
So you do a back stitch at the very beginning.
You should. So you always close off your seams with
Yes.
backwards and forwards if
Perfect.
they're not visible seams. If they're a visible seam, by the laws of sewing, you're supposed to pull up the bobbin thread,
Oh,
the thread
gosh, yes.
underneath.
Well, that's like
Or
quilting.
no, the other way, the top thread to the bottom and tie it off.
Our quilting, we do it the other way round. Because we pull
But
the
you-
bottom thread up to the top and then tie all of our threads in from the top.
Okay. So I'm just going backwards and forwards because nobody's going to see this.
Brilliant.
shoulder
Right,
seam.
so just press that scissors button.
I
Press
don't
it.
have to
Just
have the
press it.
needle up.
Just leave it. Press. And then lift it up.
So
They're amazing,
good.
isn't it?
Wow.
So honestly, have a look at the video with Jane Brogan. I think it was two Mondays ago with Vix. Really, really, really good one, and the machine is stunning. They are. I think we're at half sold out. Is that right?
Really? Wow. Gosh. So I'm just finger scoring the seam open because I want it open.
That is lovely. Right.
So should we show them that it's the shoulder seam that we've
Perfect.
just done?
So it is a 2-hour special today, so we're going to be here for a little while. There's no rush. So what we've done now is we've sewn this seam here. I'm going to slide this down so you've got the whole seam, the whole sleeve. And you can see this is now where we're going to put the sleeve in. This is the neckline. And then this is the bias line that we've just sewn on, which is the front of the dress here. Brilliant.
Okay.
I won't deny I'm terrified because this looks like it's a really complicated thing.
No.
And just remind everybody we're making the Colourblock dress. This is the pattern on it. We have checked out quite a lot of people checking this out already. So please, if you do want it, it's the first time we've had it on. It's the first time we've had it on, and we've got the fabric range with it as well. And of course, don't forget everybody, different pattern sizes go for different patterns. This one goes from UK size 8 to 26 and the US size 4 to 22, all within the one pattern. And as I showed you earlier, you've got all the different colorways to be able to figure out which line you're cutting on. So if you're following the turquoise one and you follow that all the way through, you'll always have the same size that you need. Brilliant.
Okay. So this is the armhole. Okay.
Yes.
So that's the armhole. This is the sleeve. Now, this is some sort of magical sleeve that Laura has created.
Wonderful.
'Cause-
Should we slide this over just a little
Yeah,
bit?
it's
Because I'm
very
worried we're going to
heavy.
get you on.
Okay.
There we go. Just that extra couple of centimetres helps everybody see.
So usually with an inset sleeve, you most definitely have a slightly different shape to the back, a bit more room on the back than at the front. So when I was doing this, I was thinking, gosh, how is this going to work? But it works so perfectly. It's like some magical sleeve. So I'm just going to put a little notch. I always want to know where the centre of things are when I sew
Right.
personally. Now that's going to line up with there. I know it's going to
Perfect.
line up with there.
And
Now-
again, sorry, just to interrupt, you've written wrong on this side. So it's
Yeah,
always wrong side
yeah.
to the table, right side is up, because
yes,
all your other
the
fabric is right
laws
size
of
up.
dressmaking, unless it's a design feature, are right sides together, right sides
Perfect.
together, all the time, right sides together.
Shall I take those? Do you want them?
Yes. Now, usually you'll be used to, if you do dressmaking, you'll be thinking, well, hang on a minute, you've got to close off the side seam in order to do an inset sleeve. But you know what? You really don't. And it's so much easier doing it this way. Have I said that I've got a full tutorial on how to make the Colourblock dress?
No, you haven't.
Oh, I've got a full tutorial
Fabulous.
on how to make this.
And where would we find that? Would that be on
Stitchless
Stitchless TV YouTube channel?
That's right,
And then do
yeah.
you just search Colourblock dress?
It's the last film. I just uploaded it on Sunday, yesterday, my birthday.
Okay, happy birthday!
Thank you.
Congratulations!
And International Women's Day.
So the great thing is not only would you have the demo from today, where there may be some tricky bits, but you've actually got the full demo. If you go into Stitchless TV on YouTube, when you get your pattern home of the Colourblock dress, you'll be able to then know exactly what you're doing and how you're doing it. What a wonderful thing to have done. And you see, you're not just getting the pattern with this, you're getting everything that goes with it as well. It's a great buy.
So, back to the table.
Yes.
So when you do an inset sleeve, you need to just do a little bit of easing.
Right.
Now, this is a very relaxed sleeve, but I like to just do a little bit of easing around the sleeve head so I get a nice rounded shape there on the sleeve. So what we do is we do a large, as if we're going to do a gather, but we're not gathering, it's called easing. We just do a large stitch just going around this area. So I'm going to do that now.
Perfect. Now, where do you start doing that? From the, oh, you're doing it on the, right, I'm with you now.
Yeah, so I'm going to do it from where the
Curve
concave starts. Now I do want a longer thread there because I will need to pull it.
Shall I?
Yeah. Lovely. Okay. So
just a random scissors on the table.
yes. So I'm starting within that curve. Now, whatever the seam allowance of the sleeve, attaching the sleeve is, which is 1.5, just do it a little bit smaller because I don't want to see the stitch lines.
Good point,
so
right.
I'm going to be
Slightly thin
yeah, slightly in on that. So no backwards and forwards. My largest stitch, which I'm doing as a 5, and I'm just tracing out the shape of the sleeve head. So this is
So that's just slightly in from what you would see on your shoulder there.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, clever.
Yeah. So no backwards and forwards at the end and no cutting in this situation,
Perfect.
yeah? Because I need this long thread.
Well, no,
Thank
wait,
you.
you've got it here.
Oh, okay, great.
Machine has everything.
So it does. Can it make tea?
So this is the stitch line that we've just done, which is a little bit less than the 1.5 as you'd use for normal dressmaking seam allowances, and that's just following the line of the fabric.
So I need to pull one thread and not both threads. I'll just demonstrate that. If I pull 2 threads, nothing moves. If I pull 1 thread, it doesn't really make a difference if it's the top or the bottom, then it will start to gather.
But magic!
Magic!
I've not seen, oh wow!
But we don't want gathering, we want easing.
Sorry, I feel like I'm a kid in a candy store. This is brilliant.
So if you were doing a dressmaking course and they saw a sleeve that had been gathered and not eased, you'd get told off. Because you're not meant to see any gathering. But look, can you see just a slight...
Gosh, that is very subtle.
And it's meant to happen around the sleeve head and not
And do you pull
around
from both sides or
no,
just the one?
so we pull just one. And if we were doing a gathered skirt, that's the method that you use for doing
do
a
the
gathered
same
skirt,
thing.
but you'd have it like that.
You'd have little pleats showing if you needed to.
Can you see that?
Yes.
My horrible nails. Right.
Your nails look fine.
No, they look terrible. Right, okay, so...
So just somebody who's never done that before,
Yes.
because you see I'm quite
Shall I
mathematical.
keep showing you? Why
No,
don't
you're
you
fine.
do it?
What?
Let's... No, go on.
Really?
Yes.
This is going to end badly.
So you're
I'm
just
going to
gonna-
ruin your dress.
Yeah, there you go.
Gosh. So you don't pull too much. You then just hold that.
Yeah.
And then pull it as...
And so if you were doing a gathered
Oh, my
skirt, you would
goodness.
distribute them beautifully for your skirt.
This is the very first time I've ever done this. Can you tell?
Is it really?
On live television, what could possibly have gone wrong?
So you can do nice puff sleeves on
Oh,
your
no.
tops.
No, I think I have a little too much to do at the minute.
But for the purposes of what we're doing
That is
today...
brilliant. So how far down do you take it? All the way down to make sure that it's
first of all,
even? Have I done it too much?
Yeah, so that's way too... No,
see, I
but
told
it's...
you I'd ruin
No,
it.
you haven't. I just let you play so that you could experience the gathering
then you're easing it out
feeling.
that end there.
I'm taking it out. So that's why we didn't go backwards and forwards at each end.
Oh, right. Okay, that makes sense.
because otherwise we wouldn't have been able to do that. And that's also why we use the biggest stitch.
Because you've got the easiest, it's got the basting. It's almost like basting, isn't it?
Yes, it is, yeah.
So now you're taking that back down to 2.8 again.
I am.
Brilliant.
And I'm going to put it face down without the interfacing.
That's why I see you notch it, isn't it? Because you won't be in the same place as you were before. Oh,
So I have such confidence in this sleeve being inserted perfectly. I could actually do it without any pins or any clips or any notches, but I won't.
That is very good.
Because I want you to see the setup of it. I'm going to use...
Just put one in the middle.
Well, no, I'll probably do
A few.
a few.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Now, when you
Where's my
sew,
box?
what's really important is you sew in the well of your stitch line, but a little bit this
That
way
side of it so
to
that you hide it. Right.
Yeah.
Do you have enough clips there?
Um,
Because I've put them somewhere really safe.
no, I put them there actually. I put it under here. So I hid them from you.
You can hide them with pleasure.
So basically, we're just lining up our edges roughly, because we're going to do it properly as we sew, because we know that it's all going to fit perfectly. So I'll take my hand out of the way at the moment. I always like to know where I'm going with sewing. I like to know the journey of the sewing before I do it. So I'm lining up the curve and the side seam, and then I'm lining up this. And everything's just going to fit really, really well. So I'm just going to sew one side first.
Of course.
So that you
So
can
is this how
see.
you would do it normally, just sewing the one side down?
Well, normally I do it without the clips, and I'd sew one side first, get that in, and then sew the other side.
Okay. Do you want to pop another one on there?
Okay.
Perfect.
So are you able to see any of the...
They're all good, don't you
this?
worry.
Yeah?
Joe's excellent. He knows what he's...
Okay.
He'll zoom in where he can.
Okay, I'll try and keep the fabric a bit flat. So I've gone back to the 2.8, which I know is kind of... Oh, my thread's come out. Oh, so now we can talk amongst ourselves, unless we've got the threader thing.
I'm just doing it this backwards. Will it go?
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I just need to make sure I'm in... Oh, it's come out there as well.
Oh, you should show that.
We have. That Jane Brogan, and of course I'm doing it backwards, side to side. Forgive me. Oh, and that's why. It's the tension plates are on, that's why.
Okay. Yeah, I want to see this.
Well, Jane Brogan's video last Monday. Ah, you see, and it was the tension plates just because it was
so
down.
quick.
So quick.
Oh, you should show that. Maybe at the end we can show that, because that was so
Sure.
good. Right, okay.
It's all those years of helping out at the Festival of Quilts and the Knitting and Stitching show where you had to rethread and bob in a machine.
Yeah, that's
and we
really
did
great.
20 of them in about 12 minutes because everybody's waiting to come in.
Wow.
Luckily, we've been able to get the graphic up on this. So this is the Elna Excellence 680 Plus. Absolutely stunning machine.
It's a
Do
real
have a look at it.
Workhorse.
It's really beautiful. And it's one of those ones you'd have for years and years.
So I'm sewing just a bit to the left of my stitch line, just a little bit to the left. And
I'm getting very close to look.
And the only reason is because you've got the slight kind of easing fullness on each side. If I'm not really close to that stitch line, I might get like the odd little pleat, and I don't want the odd pleat. So I'm just taking these off as I go. Now, lots of, I feel like I have got a pleat there actually. Let's have a look.
Hang on.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I can't have a pleat.
That's right.
That's really
So we'll just
bad.
cut these off for you. Yeah. There you go.
Now, when people sew, they're often...
So what we had there is you had a
Yeah.
tiny little pleat over here. So what you could feel that as you were sewing.
Yeah.
So the great thing is we've been able to stop and then stop the pleat coming out. We just pulled those apart to pull the
Yeah.
pleat out. So you can see now what we've done. May I just borrow one
Yeah.
of these little... so you can see this is the wide basting... this is the wide basting stitch that we did. This is the seam line that we were just sewing on. So you can see we're just sewing a hair on this side of the fabric, so that way your basting line will be hidden. So when you fold this over, you can't see the basting line. So here you can see the basting line there. On the other side, you're sewing just this side of the basting line so that it gets hidden in the seam over there. Just in case people couldn't see that very clearly
Yeah,
from
no,
there.
that's great. So let me just cut some of these threads off. Right, so we'll go back in again. You see, this is... Sometimes I find if I've got too many bits and pieces when I sew, I find they get in the way. I mean, I've kind of just got the clips on just so you could see what was going on. I think I'm just...
Do what you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, I'm just going to get rid of them because I'm really confident.
It's what you're confident with it.
I'm very confident
And
about
if you're
the
not, you
pattern.
haven't done this before, use the clips, use pins, use what works for you, and then you'll just grow as you go.
So I'm so confident
How many
about
of these
the
have you
pattern.
made?
2.
2 of them, but
Yes.
you've been sewing for years.
Yes,
You've got this
yes,
amazing
yes.
YouTube channel, so you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I don't. I have there's about 40 pins in a
But
row.
look how much easier it is for me to do, to have
course.
that flat, and then I just
Your shoulders are
position it.
down. I always
My
find when a sewer is nervous, their shoulders are right up here, but your shoulders went right down there when the wonder clips went away.
So because then I can just position it as I go along, yeah?
Oh, we've had a couple of messages in. I think somebody called Heather has messaged in. Oh, Heather's been very kind. She's saying, absolutely loving this natural lesson, was that? Oh, loving, within capital letters, loving the show. Thank you so much, Heather. We're here for 2 hours. And you've asked for dressmaking on the page, which is really great, because on the Sewing Street fans Facebook page, we've been having wonderful feedback and suggestions of what you'd like to see on the channel. We're a new channel. We've been able to bring you dressmaking and quilting, but anything else you're thinking that we might be able to bring you, please pop it on there. We've got a fabulous thing on Wednesday when I'm in as well, 2 hours with overlockers. I've never used an overlock and I've seen them, so I'm so excited about that. So please keep those comments coming. Sorry.
So it's okay.
Wow.
So when you've overlocked, actually, your seam allowance, you push it towards the head of the sleeve as if to fill the head of the sleeve. So you would press that, but can you see how perfect? It's absolutely...
That is brilliant.
Perfect.
And you can see there, we've just sewn slightly in from the basting line, literally 2 or 3 threads of fabric, and that hides the basting line all the way through that seam. That is really, really, really good.
So can you...
So you would then just overlock the seam and then press that down, and that's your, go both ways, and that's your sleeve done.
I would, if I was confident about the size, I would actually trim back the concave curve a bit, because all curves, they either need to be trimmed back or snipped into, or they won't lay properly. So can you talk about something? We'll talk amongst yourselves.
Of course.
I want to finish off the other side.
Of course.
Yeah.
We're going to have a little look on the Facebook page now. And of course, I'm going to forget the code for this. Anybody who hasn't seen it yet, we're making the Colourblock dress pattern there. So of course, don't forget with this one, you've got that amazing size range as this, from 8 to 26 in UK terms, and 4 to 22 in US terms. Great quality pattern. You saw that fabulous pattern in different colorways for each of the different sizes on it.
Shall I stop?
Oh, and of course today we're doing the different sleeve. No, you carry on.
I carry on.
Sleeve, no sleeve, whether you want to make it slightly longer. There are so many different options for what you could do with this dress. So please just keep looking at it. It's so good. And don't forget, we've got these lovely new fabrics as well. We've got the linens here, these 1/2 meters of linen, and we've got the denims as well. So we've got this. Do you mind if I just show this while you're doing that?
Yeah.
Just to give you an idea, this beautiful pinky, I don't know what we've called it on the website, but that's what you're getting. 1/2 meter of this, which it's called lavender linen, and this is 1/2 meter for $5.99. And it's just one of those lovely colours that whether you're using it for this or something else, or using it with this with something else in your stash, it's just a wonderful little stash buster. Linen bedding. I'm just looking at this and thinking, I saw a whole load of linen bedding recently, and that was really, really expensive. So at the moment I'm hearing that the darkest of the lenims is the darkest of the denims. These are alliterations that you get. They are so, you can just see that's such a lovely colour. This is an 8-ounce one. So if you were making this into a dress, you would then, this would be more of a winter autumn dress, because it'll be slightly heavier than the fabrics they're using at the moment. And for $4.99 for 1/2 meter, it's a really, really good price. And don't forget that top tip. If you wanted to use 2 different colours, just fold that in, and you've got the dark and the light in the same piece of fabric. So maybe that would be a place where you'd actually buy maybe 2 or 3 meters of this to make a lovely dress out of it. And this price point as well, you look at them and you think, you've got those amazing bag making tips by Debbie Shaw. These would be fabulous for those, because denim's such a strong product. I'm going to switch to the medium one now, just to show you this fabric again. I feel like I'm blocking your way in here, Tree. Sorry, darling. Come through, let's see where you've got to. You've done both sides now. Oh, that's wonderful.
So is it helpful to put it on the dressmaker's
Of course.
dummy, yeah? So, that way. So I just want you to see how perfectly
Oh my goodness.
it so perfectly fits in.
That is
Oh, hang
really
on.
clever.
So that way and that way. So there are no pleats or anything on there. That was really easy to do. So we've just got one more thing to do, and then your inset sleeve is done.
And this is the Colourblock dress that we're doing at the moment. I'm throwing things around the set again. Oh! Bye, box. We look at the box later. So now you're putting the other side of the sleeve together to make it a complete circle, aren't you?
Yes, but usually, so I don't think we've got
Yes,
time
you
to
s-
show. Well, there
you
is
do the
actually
whole
a dart.
seam.
Well, there's a dart.
Okay, but that's
So-
on your video on YouTube,
Yes,
isn't it?
yeah.
So then people, if
So
they want to
on
look
the-
at that,
yeah,
they can.
so on the
And that
pattern
was
there is a dart.
Seamless TV on YouTube.
Stitchless.
Stitchless, sorry.
I did used to be called seamless
Did
actually,
you?
so that's very good.
Gosh, nice progression there. Stitchless TV on YouTube. Have a look for the colour blocking dress demo. You'll be able to find that on there very easily.
So I'll just quickly show
Just
this.
going to end this last little
Yeah.
bit here to show you.
So you put a peg in the armpit or a pin in the armpit, and then notch or pin along the sleeve. Okay, so that's the sleeve. You would come down there, and then you just go straight down the side seam. You do it all in one shot.
Okay, and all in one shot, all the way down.
Yeah,
Gosh.
and then your sleeve is
It's finished.
Finished.
How brilliant.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So do you want me to demonstrate that, or I think that's?
I think you're okay.
That's fine, isn't it?
Brilliant.
Okay.
So again, this was the Colourblock dress that we've done. Sorry, I was just so intrigued. I've not seen seams like this before. Forgive me. So this is the Colourblock dress that we've been doing today. We've covered mostly the main stages on this. Again, you'll be able to refer back to the YouTube video on here, and we'll be able to go back to the YouTube video on your page as well.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a quick break now because I need a cup of tea. So we'll be back in a few minutes after the break. We're here with you for 2 hours, and we're going to do this amazing Longline jacket pattern. And I, for one, can't wait to show you how the... We've already got people checking out on this apparently, which is great. I can't wait to be able to show you the pattern matching on these because there's an amazing, amazing, amazing way of doing the fabrics. And Laura's going to talk us into that. So have a little cup of tea. We'll be back in a few minutes. And thank you so much for being with us. Have a good one. See you in a bit. John, bye. Welcome back to our second hour today with Laura and Tree. I'm so glad to have you here, and today we've now switched over and we're doing the long line jacket pattern. And what I love about this is I saw this, and you can see it on the model over here, that amazing colour matching on this dress. Fabric matching, I don't know what you would call pattern matching. See, definitely not a sewer at the minute. But this pattern is so lovely. And the great thing with this is, like with your Colourblock dress, this is size 8 to 26 UK terms.
It is, yes.
And 4 to 22 on a US terms. So the great thing with this is as well, when you look at the pattern, you can see that you've got the different lines on the pattern to show you if you're doing an 8 or you're doing a 22 or a different size, you just follow a different colour all the way through. And we've been able to bring you some different patterns as well. We're going to do... So if we're making today from our fabrics that we've got on the website, you will need to be getting... That's actually a very good question. How much fabric do you need if you're doing an 8 to 16?
Well, if you're doing an 8 to 16, it will take, and your fabric is 150 centimetres wide, it says on the back here, 2.25 metres.
Our fabrics is 140. So if we're going to be using the fabric from our website, we're going to need to have, if you're doing an 8, you'll need 3.5 metres of the fabric. And then 8 to 16, that's 3.5. And if you're doing from 18 to 26, you're going to need 4 metres of fabric. You're definitely going to have loads left over. It's just our fabric is slightly narrower. Ours is 140. You might get away with it, but we'd rather you had all the fabric correct from the same bolt and the same cut, so there's no colour variations. But if you're using a 150, 8 to 16, you need 2.25 metres, or 150 wide for 18 to 26, you need 3 metres. So for our fabric, that'll be 3.5 metres for 8 to 16, and 18 to 26 will be 4 metres. Brilliant. So, show me what we're doing.
Well, this is the Longline jacket. This is one of my favourites, and it is a very versatile pattern in terms of the type of fabrics that you can use. So, here we've got the wedding version, I like to call it. This is actually a furnishing fabric, and I have put a fair bit of effort into a bit of pattern matching here. I'd just like you to appreciate that.
Oh my goodness. It is extraordinary.
It just takes some time, and I'm going to show off a little bit.
But it's so worth that effort.
Yeah, it is, and it looks lovely, and it looks quite formal in this.
It does. I can see why you called it the wedding one.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine that with a plain pink underneath or a plain burgundy? It would just look really fabulous.
Shall we?
Yes, I'm not sure. It's not quite the right.
Might be the right.
No, but it is.
You can get an idea.
Yeah. There you go. Now, alternatively, here. So this is quite a heavy fabric. Alternatively, here I have it made in one of the So Different fabrics, which is the cotton linen blend, and this is a much lighter weight. And this it's going to give you more of a kind of summer cover-up feel.
Yes.
And then again, here's a third version, which will work really well with your fabrics.
Yes.
This is a denim, and it's quite casual. I'm just going to throw it on. It
Please,
doesn't go with the dress, but
I don't know.
You can
That's
imagine
lovely. Do you want to stand in front of the mannequin so everybody can have a little look and see?
Can you imagine it with a pair of little floaty
That's
trousers?
Beautiful. Do you know what, I'm looking at these and I'm thinking, everybody going on cruises.
Yeah.
You've always got those formal lunches and dinners and things. These would be beautiful for that.
Now, one of the nice things about this jacket is there is this pocket feature. I'm going to put this here, and you can hopefully see it on the overhead camera.
Come a little bit this way. There we go. I think we've got it there.
So it's got these huge pockets and huge deep pockets. Now, apparently, you can fit an entire bottle of wine into there. Don't say that I saw it.
Oh my goodness!
Oh my God!
I can put the whole iPad in there. That is brilliant.
But you can make this lovely feature where just a little bit of special fabric there.
A little pop of colour.
Yeah, it gives you either a pop of colour or that's just a pop of detail. Now, again, this is just a furnishing fabric. It's a silk wool blend furnishing fabric that I've just put in just to go with the denim. It's not in your face, it's not too much, but it is lovely. So you can do this. Or you can pattern match the same fabric.
With the same fabric.
Or here,
you've used more of a contrast.
I have used. Well, it's coordinating, isn't it?
Of course.
Again, it's the same range, so the yellows match beautifully, but it's just a different different pattern. So you've got it there on the collar and
very cleverly done
on the pockets. Insert like that. There you go.
I
So-
love the fact an iPad can fit in the pocket because ladies love a good pocket.
Oh, who doesn't love a pocket?
know.
Who doesn't? We all love
I like
pockets.
it on my dressing gown as well. I can put all the TV remotes and
I
everything
know,
in
but
there as well.
do you ever put your phone in and then forget where it is? And then I can hear it ringing.
My favourite thing I've
Where is
ever
it?
done is I've had my phone in my hand, talking on speakerphone to my husband with the light in my car, looking for my phone.
I've done that.
And my husband says, "What are you talking to me on?" And I was like, "Okay, goodbye now. See you later. Bye bye." Very embarrassing. We all do that.
So these denims that you've got here,
They would
these-
work really well.
Now, these are 8-ounce denims, I
Yes.
think you said. This is actually an 11-ounce denim. So to get something heavy like this, you might want to go slightly heavier, but an 8-ounce denim like this
It's a nice weight.
will work really well, and it's just going to give you something a bit more suitable for spring.
Perfect.
So-
I'm just going to measure the
Yeah,
length of these
sure.
to see how much you might need from this fabric if you were going to do it. So we've got 28.5 inches. Do we have a little...
Very close to...
It is.
That's very close to the
And
full
that's
width that
taking
you
the selvage
need.
out. When you do your measurements, do you include the selvage?
I do, yes.
Let me remember the iPad code. And there's no calculator. Anybody got a calculator? They can work 28 inches times 2. Oh, there we go. Oh, I've got to download it. So 28.5 inches times 2
It's not going
would
to be far
be...
after 60, so...
So it's 147 centimetres, so it's very close.
It's very
And
close,
that's, well, I'm
yeah.
taking it to the edge there. So this, I'm assuming you'd be able to count as 150.
I think you could,
So if people
yeah.
were wanting to use any of the fabric that we've got here in the denim, you'd be looking to get, if you're 8 to 16, you'd be looking at 2.25 metres. We only do it in 2.5 metres, so you'd be getting 2.5 metres of that. And if you're 18 to 26, you'd be looking at 3 metres. So that would be in any of the 3 colours of denim that we've got today. So that would be the very light, the medium, and the dark. Or I suppose you could, and they're all $4.99 for half a metre. So the different ways you could do that. I suppose you could also colour block these as well if you wanted
You
to.
could, but can I just use you?
Of
If you
course.
just stand really still, imagine now
That I can do.
jacket, the jacket made in the dark denim, but then for your pocket detail, how about a little splash of that? How lovely would that look? It would go around like that and you just see a little bit of it. It
Oh,
would
I
look
love
lovely.
that.
Red dress underneath,
Love.
red camisole.
Love it.
Very nice.
These are brilliant. So talk me through this. Where do we go? How are we...
Well, Tree is going to demonstrate for you. She's going to
Good.
demonstrate. She's going to demonstrate this lovely pocket, which is really one of the big selling features of this jacket. Everybody loves it so much. And then she's going to demonstrate the collar. Now, this is an easy pattern. I
Right.
wouldn't say it's for absolute beginners,
Okay.
but I'd say maybe an adventurous beginner
Okay.
would be a good
Confident
description.
beginner.
A confident beginner.
So for a complete beginner, which would you say would be an easier one to do? This one or the block dress?
Oh, the Colourbllock dress,
The
I think,
Colourbllock
is
dress.
easier. But this would
Perfect.
be your next one. This would be the
Okay.
thing that you would make next.
Well, I suppose you could make the jacket for the dress. Well, you could see how
they'd be
beautifully it
very
went
nice.
well there together.
I think if you were going to do them together, I think it'd be very important to make them the same kind of length so that they sat
Good
together.
point.
But then imagine it.
But I suppose you'd use the same method that you taught us now in the colour blocking to extend this pattern as well.
Yes.
How brilliant.
You would. Now imagine this made in a dark denim with a little splash of colour down here, and then you could use that same little splash of colour in your
And your
colour block
colour-blocking dress.
and the same denim.
Not just a pretty
It's
face.
a
You're very
suit,
good
it's
at
a
this.
suit,
Oh, I'm
it would
so
look lovely,
pleased.
It would look lovely.
Oh, I'm loving
So
these.
let's leave it. Let's move it over to Tree, and
Perfect.
she can
Just
talk
going to do a little
it
bit of
through.
rearranging here to get Tree back on.
I'll take this away.
Thank
I'll
you.
leave
And we've
you
got the
to it.
lovely pattern here. Thank you very much for that.
Okay.
Pop these back here. Grab the sewing machine. This is the website here. If you do want it and you haven't seen it, www.sewingstreet.com. And everything you see on today's show is on the web underneath as you log on. And just lost my...
Is my mic okay?
So there we go. I think you are ready. Oh, you're doing this in a lovely green.
Yes, that doesn't have a right and a wrong side.
Brilliant, much easier. Shall I pop some of that over here for you?
Yeah, I'm just getting my pieces in order. So we're going to be doing the pocket, the gigantic, enormous pocket that you can get babies, bottles of wine, all sorts of things in. So I think I can probably do without those.
Perfect.
I'll just
I'm
get
popping everything
that
you're
there.
not using in
Thank
this little
you.
hole over here.
Right, so I don't need this at the moment.
They've got lovely little side bits
I
that you
know,
can put
that's
things in.
really
It's
handy.
great.
I'm making good use of it. Right, so, yeah, these are the bits that we need. Yeah.
And again, if anybody is now just joining us, this is for the Longline jacket that we've got. So even though you haven't got a right and wrong side on these, you've just still written W on the ones that are the wrong side.
I need to know, because
Of
otherwise
course.
it'll be a disaster. And that might not even be right. So let's get all of it in position. Okay. Right, so the bit that we're going to do, if you want to point at one of the big pockets, so the big pocket, so I don't know which one's more visible. Yeah. So we're going to do that, attaching a facing to that edge, first of all.
And the facing, is that this bit?
Yeah, the stuff on the inside. And you can use a contrast, as Laura has there. Right, so this is the piece that is the facing. It says pocket facing. And we're attaching it onto the lower half of the
lower front.
Yeah, the lower front.
Perfect.
And it's going to go along that line there.
So you're cutting this as a size 12?
Yes.
Perfect. So you can see then when we were talking earlier about the different colourways for the pattern, so you can see that size 8, that size 10, that size 12. So when you're cutting the pattern out, there are different colour lines all the way through the pattern, which makes it a lot easier for you to figure out where you are.
So much easier. I mean, if you have done dressmaking before, you know that you really can spend so much time trying to figure out whether you're a dotted line, a splodgy line, a star line.
And trying to remember which one you are when you started.
So, okay. So I think I've got to be that way round, actually. So I'm going to put my fabric right sides together. So I put a W for the wrong side because there is no way of me knowing.
Course.
And you may think, well, what difference does it make then if you can't tell the difference between the right and the wrong side? Well, do you know what it does? Because otherwise you'll end up making two of the left sides. So you have to get this right. So we are lining up the edge of our facing pocket with our lower part of our dress. And I'm going to get some clips in a moment.
You can have as many as you like.
Thank you very much. So I think 3 will be fine.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I'll just put those along the edge. So my fabric, like I said, is right sides together. This is the pocket facing. This is the lower part of the dress. And I'm going to sew a seam allowance away. And the seam allowance is 1.5 on the pocket facing as well, yeah?
Okay.
And then I'll probably trim it back because really you want that quite trimmed back, or you can snip into it. So we just get it in the machine. I actually think that this is like an advanced beginner's pattern, actually. I think it's a really simple pattern and the instructions are very good. So I am going to go backwards and forwards at the beginning. And then I'm just tracing out.
And that backwards and forwards at the beginning is pretty standard, isn't it? Because
to
you're locking your
close.
seam all the way along.
We are, yes, yeah. And yeah, you do need to do that really. Oh, and I haven't gone up a stitch, but anyway, there we go.
And the stitch length of this is 2.8.
Well, I'm choosing to use,
Perfect.
I mean, it's for selfish reasons, really. I think if I use 2.8, if I need to unpick,
It's a little easier.
It's a bit easier, and I don't need this seam to be a small... Oh, I didn't use the cutter. Go on
You
then.
don't have to.
Go on, I want to use it. Oh, so good,
very
isn't
clever.
it? That really is magic. So
And it also makes a nice short seam on the other side when you use it as well, so you don't need to trim off the ends there.
Okay. So can I use the magical scissors?
Of course you can.
Thank you very much. So for this sort of seam that's going to be trapped within the facing, we would either trim it back or snip into it, or both. So I'm going to trim it back. I've got my hand underneath, so I'm being careful that I don't cut a piece of fabric that I shouldn't. Does anyone know who Neil Kinnock is?
I've heard of him, and I feel awful that I don't remember exactly
You're
who he
quite
is.
young then, aren't you? I think
He
you're
was an
quite
MP, wasn't
young.
he?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
he was the leader of the Labour Party many
That's
years
right,
ago.
yes.
Well, his wife, I used to make clothes for his wife.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Ooh.
and there was one particular dress, she was going to a banquet at Buckingham Palace. Yeah, I've got
Gosh.
a Buckingham
Oh,
Palace
love
collection.
it. Truly, my Buckingham Palace is. I went into the parking lot, dropped it off, and left. That's my
Oh,
story.
oh
That
well,
was
I
it.
didn't go. I was only
Almost got
making
shot
her
for
a dress.
being abrupt with the card. But
You were talking about overlockers.
Yes.
And if you're not careful when you use an overlocker, you can trap a bit of that silk underneath. And that's what I did. I had to stay a whole night without any sleep to replace that section. It wasn't good. Anyway, I've no idea why I started saying
you
that.
won't do that again.
I will never
You were
do
saying
that
with
again. Yeah, why was I saying? Oh, be careful when you cut.
When you're cutting everything
Yeah.
down.
So I don't even know if I told you that all curves, a law of sewing, this is a good law, not all of the laws are good, you have to cut into to curves.
Yes, it just makes it easier. So you can see that we've just snipped those down.
So that...
So you can see I've got those there. I'm just moving them up and down. That's not how you'd have them, just to give you an idea of how you're notching into them.
Yeah, it's good with your hand underneath. And the reason is so that when we turn this facing around, with or without ironing, it will sink into the curve beautifully. And
oh gosh, it does.
Yeah, so we're going to do the scory thing again. Should we use the scissors?
You can use the scissors.
All right, I'll just get it
and
set
everybody
up.
just remember we're doing the long line jacket sewing pattern here. The sizing going from 8 to 22 in 8 to 26 in UK sizes, otherwise 4 to 22 in the US sizes. If you're going to be using our fabrics for the 8 to 16 size, you're going to need, was it 2.5? 2.5 meters, and then it's 18 to 26, you're going to need 3 meters if we're using our fabric.
Okay, so this is quite crispy fabric, so we might be able to use this brilliant scory thing. I haven't actually encountered it before, or realised that that's what it... I don't even know.
I don't even know if it is.
Well, it is, but it is
I've
really
made
good.
a train, but it works. It really works.
But it really does work. But another law of sewing is that when you have a facing, so it doesn't slip over. I think Laura has done it on her jacket here. On her facing, she's done an understitch.
A top stitch. Oh,
it's
understitch.
called an understitch.
Ah, right.
So what that is it isn't a top stitch. It doesn't come through to the top. It just holds. It holds the facing fabric to the seam allowance.
Right.
So maybe we'll just do that now, just so that you can see. So
So this is the pocket.
Yeah. So this
is the pocket here. That's the outside of the dress. And you're not folding it together like that to do a top stitch there. You're just doing an understitch using just the seam of the top. Is that right?
Yes.
Oh, gosh. I finally know something about dressmaking.
So.
And you're just going, what, a hair or two like you did the last time with your
like
blind
a little, a non-specific amount that is very small, but not too small. So I would say like 1 millimetre.
Okay.
Now, if I'm not doing it well, it's going to be really revealing because I've got white. So this,
I have utter faith in you. I know it's going to be absolutely perfect.
It's probably going to slip over. So you're stitching it just to the seam allowance.
But you're all amongst friends here. If you make a mistake, I've done many. I've only been here 4 days. I've made many. So they're very forgiving. You're fine.
Thank you. So you make sure, and that's the other reason for snipping into that curve, because if I didn't snip into it, it wouldn't lay flat as I'm sewing around the bend, which always feels a bit strange, talking about going around the bend on TV. Yeah, so making sure it's all pushed over to one side. I won't go backwards and forwards at the end. I don't really need to, because, I didn't do the clippy thing.
That's fine.
There we go. So let's have a look at that and see if it sits. Do you want to lay it out and see if it sits well?
Well, you know it does. You know it does.
So in theory, you kind of don't even really...
So then when you fold it back, you can see that beautiful understitch just in the way there. But and it is literally only 1 millimetre or 2 in on that line.
Yeah.
And that's so clever. Just to open this up to show you how we've done it, what you're doing here is that seam that you've got there is the first stitch that you... This is the sewing the fabric together line there. And then that one is the stitch we've just done, which is the understitching, which you can see. So just getting this the right way around. So that is the stitch that we did originally, and then this is the understitch that we've got there. And if I flop that round, you can see how beautifully, there's the seam holding everything together, and then that's the underseam holding the pocket all beautifully together like that.
But you don't see it on the front.
But of course, then this is the front of the jacket. You can see that there's not even a hint of it, and if you fold it back, you've got the little, and it's quite a deep contrast on this to be able to see the understitching on that. How clever!
Yeah. Okay.
So how do I make that an iPad holder?
So we put it that way round, and just so that you can see, we then get our fabric. So this will be the right side of the fabric. So we're using the pocket panel.
Yep.
But it's that way round, okay,
Right.
because we've done the other
Yes, yes,
side,
yes.
yeah? And the way to check if you have it the right way round is that the pocket curve will trace out, so I'm going to plop this over now.
Course.
So the pocket curve will trace out the curve of your pocket
Shall I move those over? You're
facing. Yeah, I think. So look. I can see it's the right way.
This is the original line there. So if you had this the wrong way round, you'd have it like that and it wouldn't line up.
Yes.
So if you've got this the right way and you know that you're right, the seam that you've got under here, I'm just putting my hand under so you can see it. You can see there that just lines up perfectly.
Okay, so if it is lining up perfectly, which it is, I'm just going to give myself, now these sorts
Do you
of...
do that when you get it right? It's a bit of a dance. I know in my
I do it in my head.
She's a professional, you can tell.
No. So I'm really short. It's kind of hard to...
Shall I bring those closer to you?
Okay, there.
Too late now.
Right. So that's quite a long distance. I've got some here from before.
Enough?
Yeah. So that's quite a long distance, and you're going around a bend. So I want notches in those situations. So that's just me personally. You know, you can use pins, you can tack, but I want those notches as my landmarks of kind of reassurance. So look, I'm picking this up, and I'm going to sew around that sack using the seam allowance of 1.5. So forwards and back. I want to go fast. It's like being in a factory. So the reason and the way that I can go fast is because I'm constantly being reassured by eyeballing that my
You're roughly
notches.
the same distance all
so
the way
I
along.
know I've got no, nothing slipping, everything's fine.
So if at this point you'd noticed one of your notches had
I would
moved,
ease it.
you'd
I'd
ease
cheat
it in,
it, just a
right.
little
No, but I think those tips are
ease.
really important because
Yeah.
everybody making any pattern always makes a little mistake. So
You
if it
can't
is
do
out,
huge stretches
No.
because then it doesn't look nice on the right side. I've got a bit
you give it a
smaller.
little bit of friendly persuasion by pulling one side more than the other.
I mean, I think that's...
See, you are quilting. That's exactly what we
Oh,
do as well.
really? Okay, so that was... I
And then
did
you've got
the
the side there as
wow,
well.
okay.
That's all right.
Okay, so...
I like less steps.
Yeah, no, I've got to get used to it. But it's a fantastic thing. Right, so then if you just sort of line that up... I'm only saying that because you're in the right position.
That's all right. I have no
I
idea
don't
what I'm
need to-
doing, but
No,
I'll do
but
it.
you're doing it really well. And then
You're very kind.
if I put these clips here, then you can see that what happens is...
It's a great throat on that machine that you can just get your arm through and
It
do that.
is
You missed that. We
that's
had the
so-
arm going through here, putting the
Yeah.
pins on. It was a really big throat on that.
But that's a real benefit to have a huge arm on a machine. But it's a quilting thing, isn't it?
is.
Yeah. But domestic sewing machines, they
They are
don't
a little
usually
smaller.
have that luxury.
Now, when you're sewing this together, sorry, I've just noticed as we've done this, you've got the underseam coming up. Do you do anything special to hide that away? Or am I jumping the gun?
No.
Tell me if I am.
Well, no, you're doing that perfectionistic quilting thing. So you should just make sure that I don't know what the term would be. You know where the two seams meet? That it's like exactly perfectly in line and pressed. I would normally press this, but I'm not using the iron at the moment. So I'm just roughly putting it in position there. But what I'm mainly showing you is, should we just put one clip up
You can do
here?
whatever you like. How many do you want?
You
Just
put it
one
on
there?
there, yeah.
Perfect.
So then when we flop it over, you can see all the workings of the pocket.
And
So-
you know you're right because you've got the W's on the
Oh,
bottom.
yeah.
Don't forget, everybody, we're doing the long line jacket sewing pattern here. And then, okay, so we're going to just stitch that a little bit there.
So that'll be absorbed into the side seam, but I'll just stitch it there now.
So you would then put the front on
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah.
Okay. So we're not going to do that now because it'll throw everybody off.
Yeah.
So you would then just sew along this line here when you're actually putting the front to the back.
Absorb it into the side
This
seam.
is the front, isn't it?
This is the front.
The front. So when you put the back onto the front, this would be absorbed into your next seam on that. Brilliant.
Yeah. So that's.
But that's
the
so lovely.
pocket.
And then if you wanted to do a contrasting fabric, you would have then just put the contrasting there, and you can see the pop on that as well. What a clever... And I love the idea Laura had of using the pops of colour from the dress into the jacket as well. So that's brilliant. But now you're going to show me how to do a collar as well, aren't you?
A collar and the facing, but more what we're talking about when we're doing that. Shall we look at the collars?
Of course.
Would that be good?
Of course. So we've got about 13 minutes left. Just to give you doesn't 2 hours fly by?
It really does. I used to do live radio on BBC Radio London late at night. I had a regular sewing slot on the Joe Good Show, and you'd be like dreading your 2 hour slot.
And before you know it, you've only got a few minutes left.
It's just all done.
So this is the collar that we're doing here.
Yeah.
Right.
So the way that we do it is you stitch up all your raglan sleeves, which is a really easy form of sleeve to sew and to fit, really easy to fit. So you stitch up all the diagonal lines of your sleeve, which we already have done, we've done that already. And then there's just a slightly tricky thing, but it isn't tricky. You just apply some tricks and it's really easy. So we're going to apply a curve, a convex curve onto a concave
right.
curve, I think.
I never know which one's which.
Yeah, and then we're going to do the facing, if we've got time, and then the facing down there.
Brilliant.
Okay.
It does look very complicated.
No, it's
Have
not.
you got this as one of your tutorials as well?
No, not
That's
yet.
all right. We've given her 2 bits of homework. We need to... What was that seam that you were doing? The thing on that, and this as well.
Yes,
so
yes, stabilising the seam.
No pressure.
Right, I sort of...
You don't need that bit, do you?
What bit was that?
The bit for the pocket.
No.
Perfect.
No, I don't. I might need a bit of space. A little bit. Shall I just pull this down?
Do you need the machine?
We will be, but
Okay.
I need to
what
set
I'll
up.
do is we'll turn you like that, and on the table. Don't want to... So I've turned that off. Just remember to pop your seam out, stitch to the right length.
It's quite big
because
it's a coat, and I want you to be able to see it. So when people have got to attach, and I think this is a good quilting tip. You know, when you do curved seams in quilting,
yes,
I've noticed that quilters break up the curve so that it makes it easier to attach. Well, you might not do that anymore after this. Oh, that's a bit...
Do you know, I've never sewn this curve in my life.
Oh, no, really?
Never. I'm terrified of them.
Okay. So the first thing that I did was, once again, I always want to know...
Where your midpoint is.
Where my midpoint is.
And you've used a lovely chalk there as well, which would just dust off
well,
afterwards.
Well, it's on the inside that I've done the chalk, but I'm just going to put a little notch.
Perfect.
So I'm going to check my seam allowance of applying this. Is it 1.5? Yeah. So
We've
I've
had
got
an affirmative nod from across the room.
Yeah, from Laura. So I'm going to put a pin there. So I've matched up the
You've got
centre,
the notches on both.
yeah,
Perfect.
the centre of the back and the centre of the curve. Now this is like a potentially scary thing, but you've just got to trust the pattern and trust what we're doing. Do you need to show something on there?
No,
or
I'm
shall
just
I go
holding
straight
it
into
because I like it. You carry on.
So I want you to... I've just seen that I haven't got that piece on. Okay, so I'm just going to do it on one side, yeah? Because I haven't attached this piece on. So these are the sleeves.
So this is the bit that would be...
Well, no, I'd have to attach. I've got like a top
No
yoke.
problem.
So let's say we're just working on one side of the jacket. Okay, so this is the front, this is the sleeve, and this is the back. And I'm going to show you an easy way to attach this curved facing onto this.
Okay.
Right? So I'm going to just come in here.
I'll swap sides with you if you like.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. So I'm not going to snip into the curve of the face, the yoke. the collar, I'm just snipping into the concave jacket. So we snip as deep as our seam allowance, going all the way around.
Okay.
So I'm going all the way around. Laura's notches, I'm going to turn them into little V's so I can differentiate from mine.
Okay, and that's then the same one that you've got over there.
Yes,
right.
which is quite key.
People
a key
may not be able to
point.
see that over there, but I've got my finger on the little V.
So I'm going a bit shorter than the depth of the seam allowance and going at right angles.
Shall I rotate this to make it a little easier for you?
Right, so I'm going to stop at that point.
Perfect.
And the reason why I've done that is because all curves are essentially straight lines. So when you look at it like that, it makes... Well, look, so that's a curve, but because I've notched into it, I've made it a straight line, and that's much easier.
Oh my goodness, talk about a light bulb moment.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so clever.
So working with the one that I haven't notched underneath, I can spread it as I put it on.
If I pop you that way and we can
Yeah,
turn
you
that
tell
round.
me the good place to go. I don't know where to go.
No, you're perfect. The way you had that there was perfect.
Right, okay.
Just that way then I can get it into the camera there. But if you were pulling the flat, but it was completely flat.
So let me get it. It's unfortunate that we got green. Maybe I should be on the wood. No, I can't be.
You're okay.
Right. So if we get some pins.
It's just the way that you were showing that there was really easy because you've got the back, you pull that tight, and then
not tight,
well,
but
just
flat.
you pull that flat, but you line your notches up that you've got along the way. There's a notch over here, and then you can just see that as you've clipped those apart, that you can just see there that they actually just slide in beautifully into a straight line.
But the message that I'm trying to get across there is that curves can be straight lines. You just have to notch into it. So I'm going to do this backwards because I know I'm going to have to sew with my fabric to the left. Did you just stab yourself?
I couldn't possibly answer
an
that.
evil pin. So do you want to stick the pin? No. Okay. All right.
I don't like that pin.
But what is really important is that where you sew is just close to where you've snipped down.
Right.
And where the amount that you have snipped down, mine are actually a little bit short, in order for it to work, you have to snip just short of your seam allowance. You just have to sew.
So there's a little bit of prep here, but I suppose once you've got the prep perfect, it makes the whole sewing a lot easier.
No, it's always important to prep.
And this one, in case anybody's just joining us, this is the Longline jacket pattern that we're doing. Earlier on, we did the Colourblock dress. So we're a 2-hour special today, so you'll be able to go back and see the different tips and tutorials that we've got and had Laura and Tree show us today.
So I'm trying to do it quickly. How much time have I got?
You're fine. We've got about 5 minutes. You're absolutely fine.
So it is important that when... can I bring it around on my side?
Of course, whatever you want.
No, I just want to bring it to face me.
It was just I wanted to show them the
I
cleverness
know,
of that.
but it was so tricky to do.
When it's upside down, backwards, back to front, and you've got lots of people watching you.
No, I don't mind that. Don't mind the people watching me. It's just trying to get it all in position.
Do you find this very soothing as well?
Soothing. So I should say yes, shouldn't I? But the thing is, every time I make anything, I feel the pressure to make a film.
Ah, right. Okay.
So filming every time you sew.
And that would be for your YouTube channel, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So it's not always particularly relaxing.
Fair enough.
So if I get you to chat maybe about
that's whatever you mean.
the options while I...
With pleasure. So that's a very good segue
Sorry.
there. So ladies and gentlemen, we have been doing the 2 patterns today from Laura Casey. This is the Longline jacket is the one we're doing at the moment. These are $16.99 and the sizing for the UK goes from 8 to 26. And if you're looking at the US sizing, that goes from 4 to 22. We've shown how beautiful the patterns are inside, beautiful fabric, and you've got the different colours for the different sizes that you're doing. The second pattern that we've looked at, or the first pattern in our wonderful 2-hour special we've been able to bring you today, is the Colourblock dress. Again, also from 8 to 26 in the UK sizing, or 4 to 22 in the US sizing. These are exclusive to Sewing Street today. We've been able to bring these to you for the first time today. On top of that, we've been able to bring you some amazing new fabrics. These are 100% linen fabrics. We've got 3 different colours. I'm going to start with the lavender first. These are 1/2 meters of them, and they're available. I think they're $5.99 for a 1/2 meter. Got the graphic up there. So if we're waiting, are you ready now to do a bit of a sew?
Shall I quickly do
So
it?
I'll pop that on now and just rotate this machine again. And don't forget to change your stitch length because we're rebooting the machine.
Yeah.
So this is the lavender stone washed linen. That's 1/2 meter for $5.99. We've also got this lovely neutral colour, which is called stone. That one again, 1/2 meter, is $5.99. We've got 1-day P&P of $3.99 for all of these products. So if there's anything you've seen that you've liked, and later on you watch it back and think, oh, actually I should have got that, only 1 P&P for the whole day. And then we've got this, I think we've called this denim stone washed linen, but it is also $5.99 for 1/2 meter. Is that not working?
Oh, it's come out.
It's all right. So
I did it deliberately so I could watch you do that magical
that's
threading
all right.
thing.
So what we'll do is we'll try and get Tom to zoom in if we can. But it is Joe. I keep calling him Tom. I'm going to get sorry. So all I'm doing now is just pushing the little leader down, and we push that there, and there we go. We've got 2 minutes left,
No
so
way.
give that a little bit of a
sure you want me to
speedy
do
one.
this?
Well, give it a go.
Okay.
You don't need to do the rest of it.
Okay, I'll just quickly...
Go. If we don't, we can go a little bit over. I'm sure that.
Okay. Right, so I'm just quickly sewing. The important thing is you just sort of touch the tips of those slits. So even if I can't do all of it, can you allow me the time to just show some of the curve? Because it really is magical.
Of course.
It's like you using the
You've got enough
automatic
time. Don't worry.
threader.
So we'll give you another. Well, let's go up to that next seam.
Yeah, and then
we'll
stop
be able
there.
to show everybody
Yeah,
where we
okay.
are.
I just want you to
That's all right.
leave.
And then
So
if
I
you
don't
just leave
have
it
to
go,
do- yeah.
and if we do that, we'll pull that up.
Lovely.
So I can just show you
Yeah,
here
so
what
plop
we've
it
done.
over.
You can see we've just stitched there right up to the point of where you've done the notching on it.
So-
and then you said you were going to flop it over.
So if I flop it over, then you can see how beautifully
Oh gosh, that
it
lies so
sits.
beautifully.
So I haven't pressed it.
That
but
is
so-
really, really good. Just go down
There.
a little bit.
Oh,
I've got it. So you can see there, and it's just a beautiful finish on that. Really, really lovely.
But it needs to be pressed.
Oh,
And you
yes,
also
yes.
need to snip into the other curve.
Brilliant.
as big
Laura, if we
things.
can grab you back on, I want to thank you both so much for coming through today. What a wonderful thing to be able to do, a 2-hour dressmaking special. It's been thrilling for me because I've never done any of this. And don't forget, both of the patterns are $16.99. The Longline jacket is what we were just doing now. That is this one here. And then we've got the Colourblock dress as well, which is sliding in here. Both of these are the sizes of 8 to 26 in UK sizes, or 4 to 22 in the US sizes. And I hate this because 2 hours has just flown by. I can't thank you both enough for coming. I've really, really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And
pleasure.
I look forward to all your new videos and keep looking at your website, sodifferent.co.uk.
Well, we've got much more in the pipeline. So
Looking
I'm
forward
looking
to
forward
it.
to coming back again with
I
more
hope we can have you. I hope I can be the one doing it. It'll be lovely.
Good.
Thank you all so much for joining us today. It's been really special for me. Check out the website www.sewingstreet.com. Yesterday's show will be played next, which will be me. And I hope to see you again soon. I'm back in on Wednesday, 2-hour special with overlockers. And thank you so much for your time today. I've really enjoyed it. Have a good day. Bye-bye.